Alrighty. So we are here on the second session of the webinar Conversion Accelerator. So if you are here live, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are watching the replay, make sure you watch this until the end. It's going to be really important for the execution of your homework and the things that you're going to do for next week. This is the second session. We have done the first one. We have created the offer. Tick. Done. Today we are going to create the presentation. This is going to be the starting point of the creation of the script of the presentation. What is it you're going to say throughout the webinar from the selection of the content, the selection of the title, the subtitle, what you're going to talk about in your webinar, and also how you're going to sell in your webinar. And in particular, you're going to understand today, what we're going to look today is the foundation of your webinar, is the thinking behind a presentation. Because as much as I want you to understand how to create a presentation, I want you really to understand about what makes a presentation that actually converts, what makes a presentation that generates sales. Then next week, we are going to look at the creation of the marketing and sales material to get people to the webinar. And then finally, on the 20th, we're going to look at the text setup and the slide creation. So that's where we are going to turn your presentation into slide and also set up the tech for your webinar. Whether you're starting out and you're going to use Zoom, or you're a bit more advanced and I'll have another option to recommend you as well. But this is what we have set up so far. Then you have also your challenge. Then for those of you that are running within the 30 days of the accelerator, you can run your test webinar to immediately check it out, immediately test the presentation and get immediate feedback on it, which is the goal. I'm going to stay longer as well today. For those of you that want to stay longer after the 3 hours to ask me any question, I'm more than happy to stay longer as well today, right? Like I did last time, to make sure that everyone will have their question answers by the end of the day. Now, one of the biggest reasons why I love webinars and I do the work that I do, and I think is one of the things that we want in business, is freedom. Right, freedom, if that's something that also is a reason why you will do things. I personally want to have freedom to have creating expression in my business. I want to have freedom to work with the clients that brings me joy, that I love to work with. I want to have freedom as well to travel. I want to have financial freedom. There are a lot of different reasons why I run my business, but freedom is one of the primary reasons. And there are two things in business that bring freedom. The first one is recurring revenue. If you have revenues coming every single month where you don't have to start from scratch every single month, you make very different decision. It brings you freedom. And then the other one is a full pipeline. If you have a full pipeline and you know where your next sales are going to come from and you already have revenues coming in the business, then your mind is much clearer, you're less stressed, and there is more freedom. There is more freedom of choice as well in the business. And these two things that are really, really important to consider, because if I think about the majority of the stresses of a business is where is my next client is coming from and lack of cash flow. And so as part of our role as business owners, we gotta always keep in the front of our mind, how can I increase my recurring revenue and how can I have always a full pipeline? Because only with that I can experience a real freedom in the business. Let me know if that sounds true to you as well. Give me a yes in the chat if that sounds true to you. Because for me, when I started really focusing on this, that's where a lot of things change. And I definitely felt less stressed. And so last week, going back to last week, we worked on your product ecosystem, like your offer ecosystem. And there was an introduction on it. You had to create one offer. But the real goal, the ultimate goal, if we are zooming out, is to have your relationship building offer, which is your webinar, where you connect and you create relationship. You will have your introductory offer, which is the initial sale that someone will make with you to test the water and see do they really want to continue. The core offer, which is the full transformation, is what you really want to deliver. The VIP offer, which is that specific offers for the highest spenders in your target market, the people that want the best and they want to spend the most. and then the retainer offer to continue that relationship. So if we're thinking about recurring revenues, having one offer that leads into the next, that leads into the next, that leads into the next, it creates from the same attendee that you got on your relationship building offer from the webinar, it will create recurring revenue from that person. The more you have, the more funds, the stronger the foundation that you're going to have in your business. And this is what the GTeX method is really for. Again, we are zooming out here. At the beginning of each session, I will always zoom out, where you will have the clarity to know where you're going, the conversion system with your webinar and your offers, then focusing on expansion, on partnerships, so then you can take your presentation on tour and build a relationship with other people, organizations that are feeding always webinar registration for you. And then your influence, building your profile, making sure that you're relevant. And to do that, this is the full flow of the business model that I will invite you to adopt. Of course, every business is different. And this is the business model that comes from my business philosophy and what I found that works for me, for GTeX, and a lot of our most successful members. But if you really embrace it and you look at every single step and focus on making every single step great, clients and money becomes a byproduct of this process. Clarity, I know where I'm going, I know my positioning, having my webinar, one great presentation that I can take on tour, selling people into my offers and having the offer ecosystem so then people can always have multiple products to buy and multiple offers to buy. Engaging content, because now you will have a lot of people that were registered from your webinars but didn't buy. So having the right content to make sure that they buy, whether it's months or years after. I was having a conversation today with someone, and she bought one of our offers after 3 years of seeing my first presentation. And actually, she asked me, "Oh, am I the person who took the longest to buy from you?" And my response was not. Actually, the person who took the longest took 13 years from the first time they saw me on the presentation to the moment of the purchase. But that's where relevancy and consistency is important, because you will never know when someone is going to be ready to buy. You cannot force that. You're not in control of that. What you are in control is, can I always be in front of new people? Because a percentage of them will be ready to buy right now. And can I always nurture the people that have seen me so then when they are ready, they can remember me and I'm going to be there? This is really the game. Then from here, we build strategic partnerships. So then you find other collaborations where you get other people to bring to help you bring a webinar registration, or you take your webinar on tour on these communities or organizations. And then finally is your profile, getting featured on media, publications, podcasts, speaking engagements. So then you can be known in your field. And those things, they need to be done in order. They need to be done in order, because one thing will build on the next, will build on the next, will build on the next. Jitendra, you 13 years? It wasn't it wasn't you, it was someone else, but yeah, you took 13 years as well, Jitendra. You took 13. It wasn't you that I had in mind, but actually you took 14, I think, man. So and this is what the GTeX method is about, right? So this is what we are building here. This is what will create a full pipeline. This is what will create financial freedom. So we are sprinting right now. Right now we are in the sprint. The GTeX method is the marathon. And what we are doing in terms of specifically, again, zooming in into the webinar part, we have built the offer. The goal is of your offer is to get an immediate yes. We are going to build a presentation today. The goal of your presentation is to test for feedback. Remember this, the fastest you test for your presentation, the better it is. Emel, which is here, did a fantastic job. She did the accelerator in September. In October, she ran her webinar. She did her first one, got her first sale, coming back now here to refine and put the final touches. She was brilliant because from the moment she created the presentation to the moment of the execution, there were only a few weeks in between. And that's important because things are fresh right now. You're working on it, you're building momentum. The moment, if you leave like a month, 2 months, 3 months of gap, from the moment you create your webinar to the moment you execute it, the momentum is already gone. Now it's almost like restarting from scratch, and it's going to be harder again to restart your webinar work. Then after that, we build your webinar funnel. Like we refine, we increase the registration and sale. We put the pieces together. Then after that, the goal is to continue the same presentation, deliver and refine, deliver and refine, deliver and refine, until it converts every single time. It will get to a point, if you commit to it, but it's up to you. A lot of people, they don't get there. A lot of people, they stop here, or they stop here. They don't even do this. Some people get here. The people that make webinars work, there are people that really embrace this part, where you're delivering and refining consistently to get consistent conversion. Then at this point, you're ready to take your presentation on tour, building partnerships, expand your audience, and get other people to promote that because you know you have a winning presentation. So you can confidently propose to your partners. And then finally, you automate because now you know that you have something good, you know that you have something great, and then you make sales on autopilot. This is the flow. This is like if you commit to the webinar journey, this is the process. And greatness cannot be ignored. And also, if you want to become really good at something, you cannot cut corners. You cannot cut corners. It's about the consistent delivery, and the consistency of your approach will build trust with your audience, but also will make your system better every single time you run it. And every time you run it, you become better and better and better. So now we are here on the offer and the presentation. And I want to give you some metrics right now. Before we go into the building of the presentation, I would love to give you some ideas and also help you play around with the tool that I've built. So if you're asking how many webinars do I need to run how many webinars do I need to run to make it work, to make this strategy work? Again, you will have people that are at different levels, depending on their commitment, depending on their time, depending on their resources, and depending on their business. So I'm going to give you a minimum scenario, an ideal scenario, and a best scenario. All right. So the minimum scenario is one live webinar a month. That's the minimum scenario. And I'll show you why in a moment. I'll show you why you want to run your same webinar consistently at least once a month. An ideal scenario is 2 live webinars a month, where you're running your webinar twice a month, one for you, for your audience, and one for a partner. So one for you and one for someone else's audience. This is the ideal scenario. Then the best scenario, this is where you never have to worry about clients, is 4 a month, where you're running either 1 or 2 for you and then the others for partners. So when I have my best month and when our clients have the best month, they might run 1 webinars to their audience or 2, and then the other 2 or 3, depending, to partners' audience. Because it means that you are always in front of new people. You're always having new people that don't know you, seeing your presentation. Now you build to that point. Unless there are some people that can start from here if they already have an established business. If you already have an established business, a database, you already have a team, you can start with the 4 live webinars a month. But in this case, for the majority, or even for me, I started with the minimum, 1 live webinar a month, building up to 2, and then building my partner network when I focus on partnerships, and then 4 live webinar a month. And then I present the offer each webinar. Absolutely. The same offer, the same webinar each month, because it's the same presentation, 2 different audiences, 2 different people. If you run the same one to your audience, they have an idea of your consistency. They can keep working with you and keep seeing the consistency of your message. And when they're ready, they will show up and they will buy. But you are showing up. You show them that you're there to stay. This is what you're showing. And this is what makes the biggest difference. So I love to, and then after that, then we have an idea of 1 automated webinar that works. So then when you're not running your live webinars, you can ask people to register to the automated one. So this is now what we are building, and it takes commitment. I'm the first one to say that this takes works and is not easy. I'm the first one to say it. I'll even breathe this every single day. I wish there would be a magic pill to make this work. There is not, other than the diligence of continuously running this process, and I tell you that it will pay off because everyone that has followed this to the T, it pays off. And for some people, it takes longer. For some people, it takes shorter. Everyone has a different journey in business. But if you commit to the journey, somewhere, somewhat, somehow, something is going to happen that is going to make a difference that you don't even think it was possible. Maybe you just meet the right partner, it's the right partner that makes your business. But it will only happen with the consistency. Does it make sense to everyone? So can you give me a yes? Because this will work. You can make webinar works, but this is the work that is required to make the full system work. And this not just to become a course where you're like, oh yeah, great course. I've learned about webinars. Now what's next? Let me move on to something else. And then you become mediocre at a lot of different things instead of become great at one thing, right? And so what I want to show you now is let's look at the numbers for your business. And I have a tool that I've built, which I'm going to show you. And I will invite you to have a play with this. You can see there is a link now that I just put in the chat. And I'm going to show you how this works. Is a tool that I've built to calculate how much money you can make from your webinars. Now, your offer will have a price point now. You might have decided on a price point for your offer. And this is the link of the webinar calculator. So I'm just going to give you a show around, and then you can play with it for a moment. So here in this part, you can select your experience level, your expertise level. If you are never sold from webinar before, that you're a novice. If you're already sold, but not consistently proficient, or if you're an expert, that you're consistently selling from webinars. Now, if you've been running webinars before, you can also put your custom data, but I will not ask you to do this now. I'll just ask you to pick one of those. Then here, it gives you the amount of page views. How many people will view your webinar registration page? Then here is the price point of your offer. How much are you going to sell your offer? I put $500 for the sake of it. And then let's see that we are running 12 webinars for the year. You might be running like 12 webinars for the year. So once a month, you do the minimum. So let's say that if you are a novice and you have 250 people that view the page, which is pretty common. You have 500, you sell something for 500 and do 12 webinars. You can expect about 75 registration, 23 attendees, and you can make each webinar that you run $337 on the conservative side, which at the end of the year, you run one a month, it will give you $7,838. But you're asking why? Why am I getting more? Because the more webinar you run, the better you become and the higher they will convert. In fact, when you're starting out with the same numbers, let's say that from novice, you become proficient, so you become better at it. So just by you becoming better without changing, without having a higher price point or without having more people, what before you were making, when before you were making 300 per webinar, now you're making 1,600 per webinar. Just to become slightly better, which will equate to about 19,200 a year. Now, let's say that you become really good and you become an expert to your webinars. You take this seriously, you're committed to it. You say, I'm going to make this work no matter what. And you're running your webinar a month, you become really good. Same number of page views, same number of sales. Now, every webinar gives you $4,500, which is a total of $54,000. Now, let's play this around. Let's say that now instead of doing 12 webinars, you run 24 because you're running 2 a month. Now you're making $108,000 a year. Now, let's say that instead of 24, you're running 48 because now you're running 4 a month. Now we are looking at this, and this is like front-end sales, not back-ends. This is just on a front-end sale. Now, it takes commitment to get to that point. Not every webinar will convert in the same amount. So this is just to give you an idea. But let's say that you start from novice. This is why I built this. Because let's say that you start from novice and you run 48 a year. You're going to start and then you're going to improve and become better. And then your conversion, webinar by webinar, is going to grow. And this is really the key. So if you run, then you can have a six-figure business just by running your webinars consistently and find new partners on a $500 offer. Now you will have backend product, you will have backend sales. It will increase your sales prices. It will increase the amount of money that you will make. Some webinars will work less. So then maybe the numbers are going to be sometimes a bit slower. But if you look at overall in the year, these numbers are pretty accurate. And so this is my invitation to you. I wanted to show that consistency pays. This is my message before even we start. Because consistency pays. And the only people that don't make them work is the people that they're running too sporadically, or then they don't focus on getting in front of new people all the time after they have something good. Because of course, this requires always having new people and always building new partnerships. But even if you stay and I say, okay, I'm running like 2 a month, right? You can expect, and you become really good, you become an expert on this, you can expect a nice payout at the end of the year. So, message for you here is consistency pays. The brand lift factor is that every time someone sees you, even if they don't buy, your brand has a bump. That's what the brand lift is. And if you have costs, you can also include some costs. If you have paid advertisement or team, you can include costs. For the sake of this presentation, I've not done it. But let's say that every time you are in front of a potential customer, you have opportunities coming to you anyway. So there is always value in delivering a great presentation in front of someone else. And so that's what the brand lift factor is. So let's say that every time I assign a value of $10 for every person that sees me, now I can add the brand lift value to all my webinar registration. So but that's something that I personally don't use too much. I'd rather stay focused on the conversion ones. So hope this motivates you. That's why I want to do it. Hope this scares you a bit, makes you a bit uncomfortable, and motivates you at the same time. And I hope I achieve my goal here. So are we ready to move on? Are we ready to move on the building of the presentation? Yeah? All right. Now that we talked about numbers, let's get ready to move on. And this is, by the way, what we do in our mentoring program. So if we think about the mentoring programs that we run, for those of you that are not yet part of the programs that we run, like many people, actually, if you're already part of our Ultimate Expert program or Influencer program, just type GTeX in the chat so then people can see the people that are already part of it. So then you can see everyone that is doing the accelerators again. But it's basically become the difference between starting out and staying an amateur and becoming a pro. I wanted to become a pro in this work. And we had incredible results like Mercy. We helped her build their business from 40,000 to 250,000 a year. It's going through this particular process. With Navid, we made over $150,000 from one single presentation delivered 4 times a year. We built a strong partners network, very strong partner network with about 100 partners, delivered the presentation 4 times a year, resulted of an extra 150,000. With Sarah, running it consistently made over 500,000 in a period of about 2 years from running the same presentation over and over again. Katia makes about $300,000 a year from an automated webinar, not even a live one, from an automated webinar. She invests a lot of money and time in paid traffic, but the presentation is always the same. That brings about 300,000 a year. So the system works. The system works. I want to make it work for you. Now that we are going into the flow, I want you to understand something, which is the main reason why you're doing this webinar presentation. Before people buy something or before you buy something, what stops people from buying? What stops people from buying? Time, money,
Yeah.
fear, energy. They don't know that you do know enough to trust you. They feel they don't know you, fear that they can do it. ultimately, the emotion from that stops someone from buying is fear. Because if they had 100% confidence and conviction that what you would offer works and they can do it, then they will buy. If someone says, hey, find $10,000 for in the next 7 days, and I guarantee you, without shadow of a doubt, that you're gonna have 100,000 in return. Trust me, every part of you will find this $10,000 by the end of tomorrow. But what stops us is the fear, is the concern, is the what if. What if it doesn't work? What if I cannot make it work? What if it is I'm investing time in the wrong place? What if I'm doing all this effort to put all this money maybe on a credit card or use my savings for it and so on, and it's not gonna give me a return? This is what really stops people from buying. Because if we had 100% conviction and guarantee that what we are selling will give a return, people will find the money, the time, and the resources. So now we are in the business of limiting fears. And the more you understand this, the easier it's gonna be for you to actually close sales. Because your entire presentation is to give confidence, is to turn fears into certainty. That's when you know you've done something great. This is the real objective of the presentation, to turn fear into certainty. And some of you have seen that you've done this course before, have heard this story before, but this is the night where I proposed to my wife. That's Lovelda, my gorgeous wife. We've been now married for 8 years. And that's the night where I proposed. That was her third espresso martini. I made sure she drank quite a bit because I was incredibly scared. Again, fear that she might have said no. Fear that it might have not worked out. So I was scared. I was nervous. And it was New Year's Eve. We were in Cambridge. And we had a night booked in this hotel. So I kneeled down, I popped the question, and she said yes. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Maybe she said yes because she was drunk. Who knows? But hey, I'll leave it to her. 8 years down the line, we're still together. 11 years in total down the line, we're still together. So it worked out. Then at 4 a.m., well, I hear someone crying in the bed. What's going on? I was a bit hangover. Oh, shut up. And she starts shaking me. Now, the last thing as a man that you want is the woman that just said yes to you, that you want to spend your life with, to cry in your bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's the last thing that you want as a man. So we had a very long, important conversation that needed to be had. But ultimately, we had some concerns, and she had some concerns. Now, we both come from not the best families in terms of role models. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom raised me as a single mom. Raised me and my brother. I was a rebel kid, left home as soon as I could. She has very different situations. So again, she was raised, her mom raised her and their sisters. So we both come from families without a positive father figure. And so the example of marriage that we had or relationship that we had was, this thing is not going to work out. The second thing is that there was quite an age gap. I'm 5 years younger. Now she was like, are you ready for this? Can you be the man that I want you to be? And at the time, there were doubts. Rightly so, I gotta say. And thirdly, she was like, is this the right thing for me? Am I going to be the wife that you want me to be, the woman that you want me to be? So we had this incredibly long conversation where We poured our heart out, and we decided at the end that it was the right thing to get married and move forward. Now, why am I sharing this story? Because when you're asking, we said that fear is what stops us from buying. But buying is a decision. What you're asking people to buy from you is not a tablet for the dishwasher, right? It's not a small choice. They buy something from you because they want a transformation. They want meaningful change. And when you're asking someone to make a meaningful change, their internal resistance will come up. Their internal walls will come up because everything in them is designed to keep them as they are. That's our subconscious mind is designed to keep us where we are, to keep us comfortable. We need to work extra hard to go through the discomfort. And so when you're asking someone to buy something from you, you're not asking them to just spend the money. You're asking them to be a version of them that they are not yet. You're asking them to go against all the beliefs that they have. You're asking them to go against the walls that they have built. And the more we understand about this, then we understand about why we need to have a certain presentation and what topics they need to be in the presentation. At the end of the day, it's a psychological journey that we are guiding people through. And so what are these steps? What are these things that they need to understand? Well, the first one that stops someone from buying from you is that they don't believe in the person who is offering. They offer the service, the program, so they don't believe in you. If they don't believe in you, they ain't gonna buy from you. Second thing is that they don't believe that what you offer works. If I don't believe or I have doubts that what you offer works, or you're not convinced yourself when you sell or when you promote or when you present that what you do works and you're not able to give that feeling, I'm not going to buy. And the third thing is that they don't believe in themselves enough to make it work. Maybe they have negative past experiences. Maybe they've invested money before and never followed through. Maybe they've bought other similar services and been let down by other people that under-delivered. Maybe they actually let themselves down by not doing what they said they were going to do. And so now this is what you're dealing with. And if I think about the story of before, the reason why I always tell the story at this point of the program is that this is what we are going through when we are asking someone to make a transformation. In this case, Loveld and I had doubts about what marriage, the offer, right? Will this work? She had doubts that I was the right person. She had doubts that maybe she was not going to be the right person. She was not going to make it work. And so this is the psychological journey that we want to have. So your entire webinar presentation is really designed to answer these three questions, to make sure that they believe in you, that they believe that what you offer works, and they believe in themselves enough to make it work. And it's your job and it's your responsibility throughout the presentation to tick all these boxes. Does it make sense to everyone so far? Ask me, because this is, if you understand this, then it's less about a webinar or no webinar. This is going to stay with you for the rest of your life to help you make sales, because what you're creating is a feeling of safety and confidence for someone to invest in you. You're able to create that feeling on repeat. You will never struggle to have clients. Never, 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 ever. Because that's what people buy. So let's create your webinar now that we understand this. Now, there is something that I want to, before we go and work on the worksheet, I want you to understand the process that we are going to build. Because once we move to ChatGPT, then you're going to have quite a good amount of time to play around with the prompts, to follow the process. I'm going to help you out. So we're going to get there. But first of all, I want you to understand what is the process that we are going to go through every time you create a webinar. So please make notes about this. The first thing is the foundation. That's the first thing that we are building. After we have a strong foundation, then we are going to select the title. How are we going to call the webinar? What is going to be a title that is going to attract the right people, that is going to attract the people with the right mindset, that is going to attract the right ideal clients that we want. After that, we build the outline of the presentation. What is that I'm going to say throughout the presentation? And then finally, we build the script. What is the slides deck? What is the slide by slide? Now, question for you. Anyone here has ever actually started from the script as the first thing, and you started building your webinar presentation from the slides, or a presentation that you have delivered before, and the first thing you do, you go into a slide deck and you start building that? Anyone has ever done that? I definitely did many times, and that's why they didn't work, right? Because I started basically from the last step instead of the first one. So let's start from the foundation. Let's start from the foundation. What are the elements of the foundation? The first part of your foundation, of your webinar, is the belief that you need to install. If someone needs to buy something, they need to believe that that thing is the right thing for them. Otherwise, they will not buy. Belief is what precedes the purchase. So the goal for your webinar is to get them to think in a different way, to believe something. Now, if I want to sell a webinar course, the belief is webinars are the most effective way to generate clients online. If you believe webinars are the most effective way to generate clients online, the next step is, how do I run a webinar? So you can see that now the offer and the action follows the belief. If you're selling a leadership course, you cannot lead others if you're not able to lead yourself. If someone has that belief and you're selling a self-leadership course, you cannot lead others unless you're able to lead yourself. Next question is, how do I lead myself? If I believe that, I'll come to this course to learn how to lead yourself. To grow your audience, the best ways is using Facebook. Oh, how am I going to use Facebook? Whatever it is. So is your belief is what precedes the sale, is what precedes the purchase, is what precedes the action. I need to believe something and then my action will follow. No action will follow if there is no belief first. That's the first thing that you're getting clear on. The second thing is objections. What is stopping them from adopting this belief? What is stopping them to considering this program or this offer? What is stopping them to considering this methodology? I'll give you again the example about webinars. Now, I can say webinars are the most effective way to generate clients online. Okay, great. I need to run a webinar, so, but I don't have an offer. But I'm not techie. Oh, but I'm not a good presenter. But I don't know how to film my webinar. So I need to be aware about your internal dialogue and internal objection that you would even have before considering this belief or considering this methodology. Because there will always be a contrast. It's like, I want that, but I don't have this. And so the next thing that we're going to do is basically to ask ourselves, what are all the objections that our clients will have before even considering implementing or before even considering moving forward with what you're asking them to move forward? What are the internal objections? And sometimes it is money. Sometimes it is time. And those objections are always there. But they're not the only ones. The biggest objection that stops someone from having the confidence is when they feel, oh, but I'm not good at this, or but I tried this before, it didn't work. These are all objections. So we're going to go through it. The third thing that will make your webinar really successful is a unique angle. What is your unique angle? What is the thing that you do in a different way compared to the other people in your industry? What is your unique variation of that topic? Because in the coaching, consulting, speaking, service-based space, everything is pretty much out there. It's already been done. What's different is how you see it. And so it's important to share it. It's important to share it. What is the unique difference that you're going to bring? And sometimes it takes a while to find it, but the more you lean into yourself and how you see the world and what you don't like about others, then you will find your unique angle. And then finally is the goal. What do we want them to do? Do we want them to buy something or we want them to book a call? That's the difference, right? You want them to buy something You want them to book a call. That's the difference. What call to actions are we making? That's the goal, the call to action. So these are the parts of the foundation. Once we have that, so once we know what they need to believe, the belief that we want to reinforce, once we know what objections we are answering, once we know what is our unique angle and we think about it, and once we are clear about what action we're asking them to take, then we can move to the next part, which is the title. How am I going to call this damn webinar? How am I going to call this thing, right? How am I going to call it? The title, the subtitle, and the key content. Now, the key here is that the title needs to be short. The title needs to be short and snappy. It's almost like think about a book that you're going to read on the bookshelf. The title is short and snappy and is designed to attract you, to bring you in. The subtitle expands on the title. It qualifies the audience. So the title is designed to bring you in. The subtitle is designed to answer, is this for me? Is this what I want? Is this talking to me? And then we have the key content. The key content is what is the content? What is it I need to say so that I'm answering the objection, I'm showing the unique angle, and I'm installing this belief while educating and teaching. So now we have, we are going to the second part. Once we have that, then we move into the outline. In the introduction, what are we going to say first in the introduction? The teaching part in the middle, and then the pitch, the call to action, the final part. So we are always going to have three different parts, and I'm going to show you what needs to be in every part. The introduction, the teaching, and the call to action. Introduction, content, call to action. And then finally, we build the script. Then we build the presentation and we design the slides. And that's how we have an incredible webinar. Makes sense? Give me a yes in the chat if now it makes sense, like the thinking to go through. Now, some of you at this point might feel, oh my God, is that everything that needs to be done? I get you. I hear you. This is it. Like, I wanted to create something that really works, and that's everything I've learned on the webinar creation in one framework. Now, the good news, the bad news is that it's a lot. The good news is that we have AI. And think about it, before we used to do all this work manually. It would take the full week to create a webinar script. For everyone that has done just the first version of the accelerator, they can confirm, they can attest here. If anyone here has done already just the first version of the accelerator where we were doing everything manually, I think there are a few of you here, that there was a lot to do. It was a week of work just to get to that point, just to get to the point of the outline. Good news is that with AI, we can do things just by answering some prompts, and the AI will create a custom presentation for you based on all these elements. But I want you to understand what these elements are, not just aimlessly filling up a worksheet with some prompts.
Sorry, can I ask a question, please?
Absolutely. Yes, Jiten.
Thank you. So yeah, obviously AI is amazing and ChatGPT, etc. In regards to what you just said about when you first did this and now we have AI and ChatGPT, is there anything that that AI doesn't really cover in terms of what it was when you first did this webinar, training, and that AI is missing? Yeah, I have an answer that comes to mind, but I just wondered
Yeah,
what
no,
you.
great question. Great
Thank
question.
you.
If you don't have the process that I'm going to show you before, yes, that I'm going to show you after, yes, because this is not just about a create a webinar. You will see that the prompts that I'm going to give you, they are advanced prompts. So actually, right now, no. Right now, everything that we do with AI is exponentially better than all the presentation that I've seen before without AI, unless someone is already a webinar expert, or they've already run a lot of webinars before, or they are already an established speaker that they have already their own style. This is probably the difference. If someone is already very established, what they do, or they're already an expert in selling from presentation, what they will do will be comparable to the work that AI does, or they will be able to complement it even more. If someone is not their thing, whatever that we create with this process, because now the AI can help us doing all this thinking, is exponentially better than what I've seen, all the presentation I've seen before. Hope I answered your question, Jiten. So now we're going to move into, now the last thing I want to show you before we're going into the worksheet is this. When you're thinking about your presentation, I said like before here, you can see that the outline as the introduction, the teaching, and the pitch, right? So if you're looking at the outline here, introduction, teaching, and pitch, this is basically what the presentation is going to look like. And the prompts and the process we are going to use is going to help you create this particular process. So the introduction is there to answer basically three questions. What you will cover. So what are you there to say? Someone comes to the webinar. That's the first question you need to answer. What is it you're going to cover in this presentation? The second thing is why they should pay attention. And why is it important and why it is urgent right now? If you want someone to buy something at the end, you want to create urgency at the beginning. So the introduction is really important because it frames the sale at the end. So immediately you're talking about what you will cover, you create a sense of importance and urgency, and then you are positioning yourself. Why you? Why they should listen to you? As you can see, you're not starting with yourself, by the way. You're introducing yourself in the introduction, but you're not starting with, hey, by the way, my name is, and this is my background. Because people are interested in themselves first. So you're talking about the audience first and why is it important for them, and then you say why do you should listen to me. And then we have the three pieces of content. I call it themes. And every single theme is designed to answer a particular obstacle or an objection that your clients have. So if you're looking for every theme, what we are doing is basically giving what is the obstacle, what is stopping them, what is the solution that you're providing, so that's the teaching part, and what is an example. So you bring it to life with an example. Could be a personal example or could be a client example if you have clients, or a different story, but we need a story. We need a live example. And we do this for all the different themes. So when we're thinking about the themes and when we're thinking about the content, your content is there to answer the objections that your clients have. It's not what do I want to talk about, is what do they need to hear so that I can buy. And we do that for 1, 2, and 3. And then finally, we have the call to action. And the call to action needs to answer this question. Why do they need your offer now? What is included? And what is the offer that you have? If you're not selling something directly, is still why did they need to book the call? And what they can expect from the call? And also what objections do they have to move forward, so then you can answer all the objection on the pitch. So this is the framework of the presentation that you're building. So before we go into the prompts, I wanted you to understand this. So does anyone have any question on the flow of the presentation that you're going to build? So the introduction, the themes, and the call to action. So does anyone have any question on the flow of this presentation? Guess that's a no? You can unmute yourself, by the way, so anyone wants to unmute themselves. Okay, all right. I'm gonna move on. So now, and we have this. Yeah, did anyone
Yeah,
unmute
so
themselves?
yeah, so regarding my offer, just being inspired from what you shared today made me feel like I'm missing the whole like comedic part of my personality that I wanted to bring in my offering. So do I now go back and like retwig my offer and add that element to it? Or yeah, what would you recommend?
It's up to you. If you feel your offer is strong enough, then you can start with it, because also you can inject your personality in in the presentation itself,
Yeah.
right? So, and is normal actually for anyone that is up or changing things. Every time you will come to one of these sessions, you will have another realization. So we have people that actually at the end of the third session, they're actually redoing the full process. But
Right.
it is normal. Normal is like 50% of the room basically redoes the full process. But now it becomes much easier because you know what you're doing and you know what you're looking for. So now in a couple of hours, you've done everything. So personally, the offer that you have is pretty strong, like it's a good one. So unless you
Mm.
feel that there is a disconnect between who you are and the offer, you can leave it as it is and then bring your personality in the webinar. Or if you say, actually, no, for me it's really important to bring my personality also in that offer because there is a unique angle that now I see it and I want to bring it, then redo that, update it, and then you work on the presentation.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to say that it came to me because you were saying, what's your unique thing about me, you know? So I
Yeah.
was like, hold on, yeah, that, you know, which will make my offer more just more fun in rather
Yeah.
than oh, okay, yeah.
Good
Thank
point.
you.
Good
Yes.
point. You're welcome. You're welcome. My pleasure. All right. So now that we have done this, let's move to the worksheet. Let's move to the worksheet. So Wang, if you can please also put the link of the worksheet in the chat, and also the link of Padlet. So the way you can see the worksheet is on the Padlet board, under the webinar profit calculator. You will have these two worksheets. Session 2, Webinar Creation Worksheet 1, and also Personal Webinar Worksheet. I need you basically to open the first one and then to open the second one. The second one, as you can see, is just an empty sheet of paper, just an empty sheet. That's going to be important where you're going to copy and paste the results from ChatGPT. Whether it's this one or you have another note that you want to use, you can decide to use another note. Make sure you create your duplicate of this worksheet. So again, on both of them, you will go into File, make a copy. It will create a copy on your own Google Drive, or if you download it in Microsoft Word, it will create a Microsoft Word document. Wang might upload as well the Microsoft Word version as well on the chat. So I'm going to give you a moment for you to create your own duplicates or downloads the two worksheets. So again, they are on Padlet, just under in the resources area, under the profit calculator, session 2 webinar creation worksheet 1, session 2 personal webinar worksheet. Once you have done and created your own versions, then type done in the chat. I just want to make sure that everyone is done. You will have your own version.
Sorry, Simone, I don't understand why the second one is a blank page.
Yes, the second one is a blank page. I'm going to explain that how to use it in a moment. So I haven't not explained it yet.
Okay.
But basically it's to help copy and paste the summaries of the result of ChatGPT into a blank document because the ChatGPT conversation is going to become very long. So instead of keeping everything into ChatGPT and losing things, then every time there is a summary, then you can copy and paste it into the webinar worksheet. So I was going to explain it in a moment.
Okay.
All right, Mel, great job. So make sure you create your own version or download it, type done when you're done it. Just gonna wait another minute. And then I'm going to go on with the explanation. So please don't start. For those of you that have fast fingers, please don't start. I know you and I see you. You need to understand how to use this thing because it's probably very different from a lot of ChatGPT prompts that you've seen before. So it requires explanation. But that was the only way that I could create this in a way that gives you a unique webinar and unique output for you. All right, another 30 seconds. Thank you, Mel. And by the way, while everyone is doing it, I wanted to take a moment also to give a big thank to Lisa, which is here. Lisa, she's been incredible in supporting everyone, in answering the questions that you will have about your webinar, giving you support. So big shout out to Lisa. Yeah, she's been fantastic. Um, I asked her to literally on Monday, I think it was on Monday, say, hey Lisa, you have always given to GTeX member. Like she will do this work even without having an official role, by the way. That's why I asked her. And she always gave, she was always there. She was faster to responding to members than me. And I said, actually, why don't you get actually recognized for this work that you're doing anyway? And you're in an official role. So wanted to give a massive shout out to Lisa because she's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. She makes my work so much easier. And every answer that she gives is on point, is on real point. And I gave her I mean, she attended a couple of the accelerator, but I gave her no training on this. She just gets it. So yeah, great job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You deserve it. You deserve it. Okay, if you cannot find the blank worksheet, this is it's just here still in the Padlet under the here. I'm just gonna put the right link as well. So that's the link for the blank worksheet. You want to create it. So I'm going to explain now how this works. I want to explain how this works. So the first thing that you might notice as soon as you see this worksheet is that it's freaking long. And it's longer than any other worksheet that you have worked with so far. Now, one thing I'm not going to do is to explain everything that is in this prompt, because this is basically advanced use of prompting. And I'm not going to explain it. I'm going to explain how to use it. If you're curious, you can read, but I'm not going to explain how to use it because this is not an AI course. That's the first thing, because if I get a lot of questions about prompts, this is a webinar course, it's not a prompting course. So I'm very clear boundaries on that. What I want you to understand is how to use it. As you can see, we have the different part. We have the foundation, which is the setup here. Then you will work on your title. Then you will work on your outline. And then you will work on the script. So everything that I shared before about the thinking from the foundation, then you have the title, then you build the outline, and then you build the script. The flow that I showed you before is represented in this worksheet. Now I'm going to start from the setup. And there are a few things that you're going to do. And for the moment, the first exercise that I'm going to ask you to do is just to complete the setup. So not going through, but just to complete the setup. And in the setup, we're going to explore a few things. One is the core beliefs. We said that we need a core belief that they need to believe before they take an action. So this part is going to help you clarify what is the core belief that they need to believe before they buy something, before they take the action. The second one is the objections. What are some of the objections, the obstacles that they have that prevents them from adopting the transformation that you're asking them to get? Then we are looking at a unique angle. What is your unique angle? What is your story? Who are you? Why they should listen to you? How do you see your industry and the world in a different way? And then the goal. What are you asking them to do? Is to sell, is to buy something directly, or to book a call? Now, in terms of the action or the goal, if you're selling an introductory offer and you're already good at selling, you can sell an offer directly. You can select sell offer. But if you're not good at selling yet, or you're selling something that is really on the higher end, or your ideal clients, they need a call to buy, then just use book a call. Okay, that's remember last time we decided what kind of offer is an introductory offer and a core offer. So normally on a core offer, always book a call. On an introductory offer, if you're good already at selling, sell directly. If you're not good yet, easier to ask them to book a call. You'll make more sales in that way. And then we have the stage summary here. So how does it work? Now that you understand what the prompts cover, let me show you how this works. In your own version, anything that is in yellow, you're going to update it. If you don't have an answer, then you say, I don't have this. Just write, not available, not present, I don't have it. Because, for example, in the core belief, if you already have a method or a signature methodology that you have developed in your business and you already have it, you can add it. If you don't have a framework that you have developed, like I have the GTeX method, for example, not the place to create it here. We create in our mentoring programs. Just type not available. So if there are things that you don't have, not that you cannot answer because you're lazy, is different, but because things that fundamentally you don't have, then you type not available. I don't have it. Anything else, you're going to basically update everything that is in yellow. Everything else that is not in yellow, then is the prompt as it is. So how do we work this out? The first thing you're going to go, so the first thing to do first is to, before you even go into ChatGPT, is to replace what's yellow with the answers. That's the first thing. So before even you go into ChatGPT, we're only looking at the setup. You can see there is nothing yellow in the setup. We're going to go down. So you're going to go into core beliefs and you're going to update this too. Then you're going to go into objections and you're going to update these three. You're going to go into unique angle and you're going to update these parts. You're going to go into goal and you're going to update these. Once you have updated them, then you're going to go into the copy and paste. So then what we are going to do, once you have updated it, you're going to take the full prompt from the setup. You can see the prompt started prompt here. So I'm going to copy and paste the full thing until the end. And then I'm going to go into the chat GPT. This is the chat that you had before. I'm going to start a new one, but this is the chat that you have used before. So it's the chat where you have created the offer. So you pick the chat where you have created the offer. And I'm going to put it here. There was nothing to change. And I'm going to press send. The first prompt, it should tell you ready awaiting F1. Okay? Because it basically just tell you, hey, I'm ready. The work is set up. Then at this point, you've already changed those. So I'm going to take from F1 till the end of the prompt until the line. And that's the second prompt. I'm going to go in and I'm going to copy and paste. Then I'm going to do the one for objection, starting from F2 until the line. And I'm going to copy and paste, then from F3 until the line and copy and paste, then from F4 until the line, copy and paste, and then we will have the stage summary prompt. This prompt here until the line, and then it's done. And then you will have the summary. So I know there are quite a few instructions here. The one thing I want you to do now on your version is to start working on the yellow parts. Okay, so F1, F2, F3, and F4. Everything is yellow, you're going to update it. Once you've done it, then you can go with a copy and paste it from the prompts, including the setup prompt. Now, I'm gonna be here. You're gonna have 20 minutes to do this. I mean, we got time. That's what the rest of this session is about, for you to implement this. And then I'm here to answer any question that you have when you get stuck. Because I'm sure you will have questions. I'm sure you will ask for clarification. So that's why we are implementing it in this way. Because while you're going through it, I'm gonna be here answering all the questions that you have. So first of all, before you get going, anyone has any question already from the start?
Yeah,
Something that wasn't
so
clear? Yes,
yeah.
GTeX.
So I saw that you said from this point to the bottom of the line,
Mhm.
and then you also said just you have to replace the yellow bit, but it's not just the yellow bit, it's the whole bit, isn't it, in that section, right? Like what will change is the yellow bit, but also yeah, the rest of it. Does that make sense? Yeah, so yeah,
So
here.
anything, so here, method name,
Mhm.
anything that is in bracket,
Yeah.
this is the answer that you're going to put there. So in this case, if you already have a signature methodology, is asking you for the name of the unique method or framework and explain what's included. If you don't
Yeah.
have one, you're just going to type, I don't have it.
Yeah.
Credibility proof, 2 or 3 bullets that demonstrate your authority, results, credential, and success stories. What you're going to do, you're going to write 2 or 3 bullets that demonstrate your authority, results, credential, and success story. Just on this part. You don't touch the rest. The rest is as it is.
Got
So,
it. Cool.
yeah, makes sense?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. If you're ready to start, you can get going. I started working on your worksheet. If you have questions, just ask me. I'm here.
Hi.
Yes, Steve.
Just on the credibility proof thing, mine's an introductory offer. I don't have anybody who's gone through this offer yet.
Great point. So anyone that is in Steve's position, because this is a new offer, right, that you might have created. So you might have people, no one, maybe for the majority of you, no one has gone through it if this is a new offer. No one can take away from you the work that you've done in the past. So what you're doing, as long as the work is linked or similar, you can use case studies, example, client work that you have done before. If you don't have any of these because your business is very new and you say, actually, I have no client because this is going to be my first one, then these are, you're just putting, I have no clients. I'm looking for external stories. So in this case, you're not lying, right? The most important thing is not lie, is to say, yeah, I worked with this person, we got these results, like if you didn't have. But you can use a different story. Or you can use personal stories. So when I started, I was my only case study. So I didn't have any client case study story. So I started with my own ones. Then the next step is after I got clients, when I create a presentation, I look at what stories are relevant, even if they belong to previous careers that I had or work that I've done with clients in a different capacity, but the story is relevant because the message is the same. And then the goal is to then replace them for stories of people that are going through the program. But you're doing that after. So that's how to the progression.
Okay.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Olivia?
Hi, Simone. So this is success stories. How many stories should we put on there?
What do you have?
Like testimonials. I've got quite a few, but then
Which
like
one?
you said,
Which one?
Sorry, in the belief worksheet,
In the
where you
belief?
said success. Yeah, the belief, sorry, under core beliefs.
Yeah, 2, 3
Um,
bullets that demonstrate your authority, results, credential, and success story. So you're just putting like 2 or 3 bullets in this case. That is general because you will have. So there are going to be other places where it will ask you for success stories, and there will be other places where it will ask you for
Oh.
examples. So at the moment, just put 2 or 3 here. This is more general. And then later on, it will ask you, give me 3 stories or give me 4 clients examples.
Okay. Okay. And then the other question is the framework and explain what's included. Are
Yeah.
we copying and pasting?
That's your align framework. You have it.
Yes. But what I was going to ask is, should I include the bonuses as well, or should I just everything?
No, so the framework is not your offer.
Okay.
Yeah, so the GTeX, if I think about the framework is the GTeX method.
Ignore me. Yes.
Yeah, the framework is your aligned framework. Your aligned framework can be used in any offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just put literally what the acronym means.
The acronym and what it means.
Yep. Okay.
And if anyone doesn't have that framework yet, just forget this conversation. If you've seen Men in Black, a red thing, forget it. Not relevant for you. Don't stress yourself, okay? Not the place to create it right now. Everyone that will upgrade to our other programs, then we'll create it together.
Simone,
All
I
right.
just asked in the chat, can I
Yep.
use the same 4 testimonials that I have for both credibility in F1 and social proof in F2?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Simone, what's recommended for the guarantee? Normally I don't, because I'm doing like custom work and sinking a lot of time into it, I don't normally have like a guarantee. How normal is that for different service industry things? I know that, sometimes people will say like, oh, if you're not happy or you don't get anything out of this or whatever, I'll give you a refund or whatever. But is that pretty standard that we need to do that, or?
Yeah, so guarantees are a business decision. You can decide not to implement guarantees, and that's fine. Or you can decide to implement guarantees. So let me give a few examples here. Because ultimately, it is about boundaries and also is about deliveries. So I have a friend of mine that, for example, she says all the sales are final. No guarantees. You're happy or you're not happy. You spent your money. That's it. And you can say in that case in the worksheet, I don't offer guarantees. It will ignore it. Another option, so guarantees, they help the sale. In particular, if we are thinking about going back to the feeling of safety that you want to create, in particular into a new client that buys, guarantees, they are a safety mechanism. So it's like, at least if it doesn't work, I'm gonna get something back. Now, not all a guarantee can be a money back. So you have different level of guarantees. You have a money back guarantee, which is you're not happy, we'll give you the money back. You have a conditional guarantee. If you do X, Y, and Z and still it doesn't work, we'll give you the money back, or we will give you this extra work on top. So sometimes it can be, hey, if you're not happy with or you have challenges implementing this, or you're not happy with what we have delivered, we will give you X extra. So that can be part of the guarantee. So the question that I have for you, can you remind me what is your business about, please, first? And what is the offer?
Well, so I build websites for service businesses. And so that's my core offer goal to get to. So my introductory offer is like a website audit or a online presence audit combined with, a bunch of different bonuses around content, keywords, competitor research, and roadmap to building the good website that will hopefully upsell into a website build for me.
Right. And so what you're selling is the introductory offer for this particular course.
Correct.
For this particular webinar. Okay. So like a money back guarantee, like if you're not happy about the audit, we'll give you the money back. That's up to you if you want to implement it. Is often if you do good work, no one is going to claim it, because ultimately it's an audit. It's not. I will not use that guarantee, for example, on a website build. Like on an audit, it can make sense, but on a website build, no, because then you get stuck in the loop of consistent change in delivery. But what about this color and this bottom? But what about that? You're never gonna end, and you know this better than me. But for the introductory offer, it's like, if you're not happy about the audit, we're going to spend, you can say that we are going to give you another extra session to make sure that you're happy. Like, so for example, that could be another level of guarantee where you're basically extending the service and not giving the money back. Or you can implement the money back guarantee on the audit. It will increase the number of sales because they will be like, well, if this thing is rubbish, then at least I'm gonna make my money back. So that also forces you to deliver something really good, which probably you do anyway. And then where people will be like, oh, okay, I really like this. So, or you can decide not to have the money back guarantee. That's your call in this.
Mhm.
What are you leaning towards more?
I guess part of me is nervous because like I've always just done website builds. I've never tried to do some like flashy thing to win them over. So I don't know how that's gonna go. Or like what somebody thinks of that, because to me, somebody would want to just have the website built.
You're cool.
So
Test it.
that's why I'm kind of, I guess, nervous
Yeah.
about with trying out a different offer and a different service that I'm not
Yeah.
accustomed to delivering. Because like normally, like all of this stuff is stuff that I do for the build, but nobody sees the chaos. They don't see the spreadsheets. They don't see the chaos. They don't see the thought process that goes into the build.
Which
They
is
just
incredibly
get the
valuable.
build.
Which is incredibly valuable though. Like it's like that's when people see that process, they'll be like, oh, is that what it really takes to build
Mhm.
something good? So I'll say start without. Because if it works without, no need to add it. Then if you're not happy with the sales, or after you do, like sometimes you will do a few, like you'll do a few of them, of these audits, and you get the feedback from clients. And if the feedback is like, oh my God, this is awesome, I'll put a money back guarantee there because I know people are going to be blown away anyway.
Mhm.
But I have the feedback. So I offer money back guarantee on this course. I'm also confident that we can deliver greatness. Like I'll do my best to deliver my best. And we had one person over 1,000 people taking it. So two people, I can live with that. And so I think start without, as this is a new
Mhm.
offer. See what the reaction from the customer is going to be after you sell a few, and then test with. Say, what if I
Mhm.
add it? Am I going to sell more? Because if you're going to sell more without anyone claiming it, then it's a good move.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All
It's
right.
hard when it's a one-on-one work instead of like a group work where like you kind of had to do some of the work regardless. So
Yeah. No,
I
I get
appreciate
it,
it.
but I also do like I offer money back guarantee also in one-to-one work. I just find it easier for the clients to say yes, right? That's and I'm confident in what I deliver. So that helps me saying, you know what, I stand behind what I know, what I say I'm going to do. That's again instilling confidence.
Simone, when inputting the information in the yellow areas,
Yeah.
do you retain the square brackets or do
Yeah.
you
Yeah. I mean, in the process doesn't make it doesn't make any
Okay.
difference really. You can retain them or not. It doesn't really breaks the process.
Hey Simone, just to clarify,
Yeah.
this is my learning challenges, but I'm on ChatGPT and I've put the first bit in. It said yes, I agree, F1, and then I go to the next bit and I copied it and I haven't I've pasted it, but all I have to do is just change, as you said, the bits that are in yellow before I hit send, right?
Yeah. So the best thing in the process is easier if you first work on your own worksheet and change all the yellows.
Okay,
Right? I will recommend
cool.
that because then it is more difficult to write straight into ChatGPT,
Oh
or
yeah,
if you
true,
press
true.
enter, it's gonna publish it even without you
Yeah,
wanting it. So you make it easier
okay.
for yourself to update the worksheet first and then copy and paste section by section.
Okay, and I've begun the copy from core beliefs, so under the line from core beliefs down to before the next number.
You start from F1.
Okay, F1 belief, yeah.
Yeah, so if you do the first, then you copy from F1
Yeah.
until the line. So the last one should be the line that says pillar belief, why matters, proof, story, asset.
Okay, and the next one, or F2, and so on, right?
Correct. F2
Okay.
until the line, then F3 until the line, then F4 until the line.
Okay, thank
And
you.
then the last one,
Yeah.
it basically creates a summary of everything that
Mm.
is done. It creates a comprehensive summary, and that's where you copy and paste into your empty worksheet. So you take the summary and you copy and paste into your empty worksheet.
Okay, but you also do this bit as well, right? Into
Mhm.
ChatGPT. You also
Yeah,
add
so
this
this
into
is a prompt. So this
Yeah.
is a prompt.
Mhm.
You take this one until the line,
Yeah.
and the result of the last prompt is then what you copy and paste into the empty document.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Simone, would you recommend doing one at a time or filling them all out and then giving everything to ChatGPT?
I like to do them all out and then do the pro in ChatGPT, just because if I'm filling, my brain thinks more about like what to add. So it's just like it just to keep consistent with my brain with the
Okay.
brain activity.
Thanks.
But do you copy and paste the whole document that I've got, or do I do each section?
No, you do each section.
Okay, cool. Thank
Yeah, so each section you have F1 till the
Yeah.
line, F2 till the line,
you. Okay.
copy and
Yeah.
paste. Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna do it all in the next 4 minutes. So
That's oh, we'll have time. We'll have time. You
Okay, cool.
keep going as much as you want.
Oh,
Like
I
I
thought
mean,
we had
that's
like 20 minutes.
basically
Okay, cheers.
what we have is the time here to get as much done on this
Yeah.
worksheet as possible
Okay.
and
Okay,
continue
cheers.
the rest throughout the week. Yeah.
Mine is saying, I can't edit. I have to ask permission, so I don't know.
Because you haven't created your own version of the document, Serena, if you ask you for us permission. So when you're in the worksheet, you need to either file and make a copy or
Oh,
file and download in Microsoft Word if you want a Microsoft Word version. Because what you're asking is to edit the master document, which is what everyone has access to. That means that every edit that you make is going to be for everyone else as well. So you got to create your own one.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Simone, on the F2 objection worksheet, it's got social proof highlight on
Yeah.
3 testimonials.
Yeah.
I've basically got the same testimonials as for the first element in F1 for credibility proof.
Correct.
That's okay, is it?
Yeah, you can put the same or you can put additional ones. If you have more, you put more. If you have the same, you can put the same.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hey, Simone, on that testimonial, so for example, I have multiple recommendations on LinkedIn. Should I copy that in here or just state that I have recommendations or
No, the relevant one needs to be specific. So if you don't put like I have recommendation on this, it's like this person who did this particular work, this is what they said.
okay. So I can take the person's name, maybe copy the recommendation, just put that in there.
That works.
So I'm going to do that. If I'm as opposed to saying three recommendations, do all 3 of them individually by name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Simone,
Yeah.
I think we're all on this credibility section. I've filled in everything else and I've gone back to the 2-3 bullets that demonstrate your authority, the credentials. Is that the qualifications? I don't know, degrees and such.
Anything that demonstrates your authority. So you can put qualifications, degrees, typical results that you provide to clients, some specific success stories, if you have been featured in a particular publication or magazine, if you won any awards, for example. These are all stack of credibility.
Okay, right. You know what I feel like? I feel like I've got worksheets all over the place. So I know where to find these. but I just need a minute to dig them out and copy and paste.
Okay. Yes, Diane?
The signature accomplishment, if we told it to give us examples of like other people's stories or whatever for the first section, like should we just say we don't have it, or
So is it unique angle and you're looking for?
this signature accomplishment, like if we
Yeah.
don't have one, should we just say I don't have it, or is there a
What
better
what do you mean that you don't
prompt
have
to?
it? Because you have done websites before, right? You have done this work before.
Mm-hmm.
You might not have assessment clients, but you can show accomplishments and results and wins for clients that you have built websites for, because the thinking is the same.
But I don't have a large pool to like pull from, and I don't know if they're okay with me showing their work or their sites as examples or what have you.
Okay, good point. So one, if you don't have a large pool, you pick from the pool that you have. Something is always better than nothing. If you have one case study, just give the same case study over and over again. And you use that case study as an example, because that builds trust, right? And so you don't need to have hundreds. You can just pick one or two that you have. And secondly, if you're concerned about sharing once if they're happy, one, ask them if they're happy. It's like, hey, I'm creating a presentation. I would love to showcase also the work that we have done for your website. Would you be happy for me to mention your brand? Ultimately, you're giving them free marketing. So it's like, it's all right. If you work in a sensitive space where you don't get that permission from the client, then you can use stories that you can use more general stories. So the story is real, but you don't mention the name of the client. For example, we work with some webinars where some clients have a high level of compliance, and so we cannot mention that we work with them, or maybe we have an NDA. But I can say we work with a client and I can tell the story around it without mentioning the name or the brand. So something is always better than nothing.
Okay.
You got a few to put there?
And then the contrarian belief, if we don't really have a strong belief, do we need to come up with something?
Is there something that pisses you off about how other people or other agency are building websites?
Well, it pisses me off when they like just have the same like content on every freaking page, and they just like update 2 or 3 words. I mean, it's not good practice anyways. Like there's a lot of places that don't follow best practice, I guess. But then they have a lot of duplicate content, and that doesn't really serve the client or make their brand look good.
Yeah, so that can be part of the here it says contrarian belief, but that can be part of what you put in. So talking about the viewpoint, it can be a viewpoint that you hold against industry standard, or in your case, you can put something that really like pisses you off about how other people are doing thing, or something like like common that is commonly shared. It could be if you believe in customization, for example, that every website should be customized depending on the client and it needs to be unique content, then say that, because you will attract that person that is not looking for a cookie cutter template. You will attract that person that believes what you believe. Like, I want something unique, I want something different. And if they have that belief, then they're more likely to hire you compared to another company that might be cheaper, but they offer like a cookie cutter template.
Okay.
What are you struggling with?
Industry bias to bust on F3, unique angle worksheet.
Which one?
So it's new unique angle, new inputs, and then you've got presenter, signature, passion phase, and then contrarian belief, and then the last one is industry bias to bust.
Oh, here, common misconception or outdated belief your audience or industry holds.
Yeah.
Again, same. So it could be something like, in the marketing industry, which is my industry, there is this misconception that webinars are dead. They were a thing of the past, they don't work. And that's something I gotta fight for because it's not true at all. Like, just that the bar is so low that a lot of people they're doing better webinars and then I think they don't work. That's the different part. So my industry bias to bust is that the world has moved on from webinars. Or an industry bias to bust, a common misconception is that webinars only work if you can do an art sale. I don't know, you can use webinars in different way. You can just use webinar to build your audience and build a relationship. You don't have to sell even anything from a webinar to make them work. But there is just people have seen it over and over again. So think from the perspective of your clients. What are some of the common thing that they might believe that you think, that's not true. Actually, it might be true for you because you're doing it wrong. But that's not true. That's not what it's like.
All right.
Do you got some?
No, I'm still thinking.
Remind me what you do. Remind me what's your business about.
It's business automation in a nutshell.
It's the clockwork principle, right?
Yeah.
What is the outcome that they get?
What in the core offer or in the
No, just like in your work.
Well, more time, more freedom, be able to pull themselves away from the business.
Right. So it's about systemization of the business.
Yeah.
A common misconception that it could be that a business that is too systemized doesn't allow freedom. Some people they are against systemization because they say, no, actually I don't have the freedom. If I have to follow this and this and this, then I lose the freedom of my business.
Yeah.
That's a common misconception.
Yeah.
Because actually the more structure you have, the more free you are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll go on. Basically, because they believe actually that if it's systemized too much, then it's just going to be there's no human element in it, which is not.
That's a great one. If I
Yeah.
systemize too much, I remove the human element.
Yeah.
Not true.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Teaser and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I just wrote into ChatGPT that, hey, I'm not promising this, that, but I am promising the opportunity for you to be able to like connect with yourself, some calm, some peace, opportunity to slow down and stuff like that. So then in its response, it kind of fed that back to me. So yeah, just wanted to share that, and I think that should be okay, right?
Yeah, I mean, a guarantee is a risk reversal, right? In business. So if I have a guarantee, I'm more likely to invest because if it doesn't work, I can either get something back or I can see that you're invested in my result.
Okay, cool,
Right.
cool.
So you can have a money back guarantee. You can add an extra something if they're not happy with the result that they get at the end. It will help show them that you are in it with them and you're willing to give something more because the results that you promise they're going to get is more important than the process, the offer that you're selling. Or you can decide not to have any guarantee and say, no, this is what I'm selling and that's it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I don't necessarily want to give a fee return, or I don't know, yeah. I think it's very subjective in my world, you know, of what I'm doing with coaching and mental health and stuff like that. It depends on how the individual is coming at it and approaching it and what their level of, you know,
Correct.
maybe experience with this is previously. So, yeah.
Correct. And it might be that you don't offer it at the beginning.
Yeah.
And like
I
I
think I'm
mentioned
going
to
to do
Jan,
that. Yeah.
because you have not doing it, we've been doing it for a while, so you took a
Yeah.
break. So even like a guarantee is a sign of confidence in the product that I deliver, in the
Yeah.
services that I deliver. It means I can stand behind it. That's
Yeah.
what a guarantee also means, right?
Sure.
And if you have doubts, it's like, I'm not sure, and I've not have enough clients to see that I can predictably give at least this,
Mm.
then don't put it.
Yeah. The idea I had was like I could offer them like a coaching, you know, call with me.
That works. That works. I often add that like it doesn't always have to be a money back, right? A money back
Yeah.
is a type of guarantee. It can be if you don't get this result, I'll do an extra session with you to make sure that we achieve that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thanks.
That's another form of guarantee. I'll
Yeah.
guarantee that I'll give you something extra in case you're not happy.
Okay. Thanks.
No, you're welcome. Now, people, make sure you take a break as well. You can continue after the break. Remember, we got time. Like you got an entire week to complete this stuff.
I'll take a
So,
break.
but
Yeah. Take a break.
make
Thank
sure
you.
you take a break. Otherwise, your brain is gonna fry in
Yeah. All
after a
right.
while.
Cheers.
We got more stuff to do.
Next section, the goal blueprint worksheet part, the core values themes, keywords that express the values / belief you want resonance on, integrity, innovation. So is that like my company's core values
Correct.
that I'm trying to connect with the client on, like reliability, dependability, professionalism, whatever?
Correct. So they can
Okay.
be your company core values, and they can also be your personal core values. So if there is something that for you is important that makes you you, that maybe is not the same of the company core values, then you can add those, or you can just stick with the company core values.
And then if we don't have awards or media for authority
leave it.
signals,
Just
just leave it blank? Okay.
Yeah, just put what you have.
Stage summary, don't go into the lab, right?
Correct. So we go into the setup. So it's the setup stage. So you go into the stage summary, and then
Yeah,
you take the summary, the result you get from the summary, and then you copy and paste into your empty sheet, and then leave the title alone.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. All right, people. I'll be back in 7 minutes now.
Sorry.
The process right now, remember, this is a process that you need to complete by the end of basically Sunday, right? So you have is not to complete here during the session, is to complete in 5 days. If you got it during the session, good, not necessary though. And that's why I want to move on. So then I want you to understand what's to do next. And then you will have again another half an hour to continue and pick it up from where you left off. So now you've seen the process. Moving forward, the process is exactly the same. You're going to go through section by section and only update the yellow parts. Then what you're going to have is then again copy and paste from the segment of the prompt until the end, until the line, and then go back and forth with ChatGPT. Again, is about filling first the yellow parts on your worksheet and then continue with ChatGPT. So what's going to happen next? What are the parts to complete next? Let's break them down so then you see what you will need to complete. The next part after the foundation is the title. After we have done the setup, Then we're moving to the title. We need to decide the title of the webinar. So it's going to ask you a few questions like, what are the clear outcomes that your ideal clients crave? If you have already given a method or a framework, you will see that sometimes there are questions that you've already answered before. Like, for example, one is like, what is the name of your framework? If you've already given that already, what you're going to do is to say, I've already written it, right? You already have it. If there is something that you've already explained or added as part of the process, what you're going to do, you're going to say, you already have it. You don't need to repeat all the same thing over and over again. Then it's going to ask you, like, if relevant, like, what is the specificity hook that you want to use? Or a proof element, for example, get this in 30 days, in 45 minutes. Or if you don't want to have a number-based hook, just leave it blank. What is the emotional tone that you want your title to have? What is the primary feeling that you would like to evoke? You want people to feel relaxed. You want people to feel a sense of excitement. You want people to feel a sense of confidence. You want people to feel a sense of wealth, of speed, of stress as well. Like sometimes great webinar title, they create stress because they might highlight something that the audience doesn't want to hear, right? But you're opening their eyes to them. And then we're going, after we set the title will do a couple of things. First of all, it will give you two options. They will give you 5 different options for title and subtitles, right? It will give you 5 options. So that's why I wanted to explain this, because once you fill this up, ChatGPT is basically going to say, okay, based on all these things, these are 5 options that I can give you. Now, you can decide to pick one of the 5 options that ChatGPT gives you or modify some of them. Maybe the option that is for you is a blend of option 1 and option 2, or option 3 and option 4. And you can modify them. Because then in the next one, once you go, win the next worksheet, it will ask you which title have you selected and which subtitle have you selected. Right? So from this round, my recommendation is actually, like, before I've asked you to fill completely your setup worksheet up front and then do the things with ChatGPT. From the title, it's better to just do one at a time. So what you're doing, you're going to fill this on your worksheet and then copy and paste the prompt into ChatGPT. Because it's going to give you option that you will need to select and then go in the second part. I'm aware that there are people that want to ask questions. I'm going to take the questions in a moment. So then I'm going to go into the second part here, because I will have chosen title, I will have the chosen subtitle. And then it will ask you, what is one phrase or focus of the webinar? What is something that you want kind of to be the focus of people that you want to repeat over and over again? Is there anything that you don't want to teach? Is there anything that is off limit for you, something that you don't want to go? Because it will need to have some boundaries of what is that you would like to teach and what is that you would not like to teach. And then finally, you have again proof assets. So if you have more to add, you can add them here, but you can see they are optional. So if you say, okay, I've already given you the one before, you can just let it know as previously updated, as previously mentioned, or I've already given them to you before. And then again, you will have the stage summary prompt. So the stage summary, once you have the title and the subtitle, then you are going to take the summary and what you have decided into your own worksheet. And then you're going to do the same for the outline, because then the next step is going to be the outline. So you're going to do the same process for the introduction, the content, and then we're going to go into the pitch. So you can see here that you have 2 options to choose for the pitch. You have pitch 1, call, or pitch 2, direct sale. You don't pick both. If you have selected that your call to action is a call, you only complete P1 call. If you're doing a direct sale, you only pick P2 direct sale, because the two call to action cannot coexist. Either you're getting someone to buy something or to book a call. Right? We want to get them one thing to do, either book a call or buy something. So if you decide to book a call, you just complete this one and you ignore pitch 2, which means that then you move to final Q&A. If you decide to do direct sale, you pick pitch 2, direct sale, and then you move to final Q&A. Again, you're going to do the stage summary. Then finally, you will have to do the same for the full script, and it will give you the full script. And then once you have done the full script, then you're going to go into the final prompt, which is the complete script. You can see that is in red. The red part determines the end of what you will need to do for Sunday. So for Sunday, this is going to be the end part. You finish on this prompt. And this is the prompt that you're going to put into ChatGPT. We are not going to use yet the bonus prompt to turn the script into slides, because that's what you're going to get feedback on. So we don't want to create the slides until you got feedback on your full webinar script. So by the time you go through this process, and right now you're going to have as much time as possible to complete this, then by the time we're going to go into this process, then on Sunday, you will need to have the complete script and stop at this prompt. So this prompt is basically going to bring everything that you had in the chat and create the full script of your webinar, which you can adjust and then submit to us to get feedback. So I'm going to open up for questions. For those of you that already understood what to do, you can go ahead. Again, like we did before, you're going to have another 20 minutes of doing as much work as you can. I'm going to answer questions, and then we're going to open another Q&A later on. So if you have any question, you can unmute yourself, you can keep going. Yes, Olivia?
I feel like it's school teacher. If we finish our homework before Sunday, are we allowed to get our results then, before then?
Unfortunately not, because we do feedback, we give feedback to everyone on Monday.
Okay, all right.
So the feedback is given, so there's doing what the deadline is done is because like this time, we basically
Makes
give
sense.
feedback to
Okay.
everyone on a Monday.
Okay.
Now the final submission will be the slides on the session 1-to-1. Then Daniela, you okay? Okay, so again, for this round, you don't need, for Sunday, you will not need to give us the slides, right? It's just gonna be the written script, because we are gonna get feedback on the written script, because then you're going to turn the written script into a slide. And that's why until here, you will basically just have a document with the script, and that's gonna be the end. Now bring all the scripts together so that the entire presentation is on one thread. Keep the same content you have created without changing anything, just put them all together in one flow. And that's gonna be your final part that you're going to copy and paste in the document, and that's what we're going to upload and we're gonna give you feedback on. So right now you can continue from where you left off, or if you have any other questions, you can ask me, and I'm here. You have another 20 minutes.
What you were explaining, Simone?
Yes, Danielle?
Can you hear? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but unfortunately I missed the whole beginning. So you just want us to continue with the sheet?
Continue with the sheet,
Where
exactly.
it says lab? Okay, where
Correct.
it says lab and all that.
Yep, correct.
That's fine. Thanks.
Comment from Amel here. Great comment from Amel. She mentioned that it's better to adjust, put the answers in the worksheet, not just in ChatGPT, because otherwise you'll find yourself repeating yourself again and again, or you press enter too soon and then it breaks the process. So anything in yellow, update them on the worksheet, then copy and paste.
prompts now. I was continuing with the first bit, but I think I should just do what you're working on now instead. To ask it in real time questions if I have any. Because I haven't finished it using ChatGPT, I'm probably going to need to open a new ChatGPT conversation rather than keeping it all in one, because I haven't
That
finished
will
the
break.
first
That
bit.
will break everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that will break everything because if you open a new ChatGPT conversation, then you break the flow. So that's why it's important to have everything in one thread.
Okay. But the thing is, I haven't finished the first bit before the bit you just talked about to do now.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. So I mentioned. I don't know if you missed it, but from here you just basically pick it up from where you left off, right? So if you have to finish the first part,
I get
then
you. So don't do the bit now. You just said now. Do that after I
correct.
finish
You
the
need to
first bit.
finish first. What I
Got
wanted
it.
to have the
Got
time
it.
to explain, so then you know
Yeah.
what to do next. But
Yeah.
otherwise, you didn't have to do it. Like you need to complete the first setup,
Okay.
then move the second, then move the third,
Yeah.
and all in the same chat. You don't need to change chat.
Okay, cool,
Otherwise,
cool.
it's
I
not
won't
right.
open a new one. I just opened a new chat for this week rather than the summer offer, the summary offer and all that stuff last week was in a different chat, and now I'm on a new
Yeah,
one.
I needed to be on the same chat of last week. So I mentioned at the beginning of the training that we are using the same chat for everything.
Okay.
So the same
I asked
chat throughout the
ChatGPT, he
full
said,
course.
it said that maybe it can get a bit too laggy and stuff. I can still do it because I haven't gone far into this one.
We have tested the process. So the best outcome that you will get if you do the full course in one chat. If you put
Yeah,
it
that's
in
what I'm saying. I'm
multiple
happy to
chats,
go back to
then
that now. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Cool, thanks.
Hey, Gary, appropriate. You can ask a question. Ask away.
Okay, I'm way behind everybody else. I'm just at the core beliefs section. And the new inputs, the variable in yellow, name your unique method or framework and explain what's included.
Yep.
It feels to me like I did that in the offer creation. So is this something different than that?
So this is like your methodology, your signature methodology,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, they're the signature methodology and the offer parallel one another so closely that it's the line between them blurs.
Yeah. Okay. So in that case, you just put the name of the methodology. Because
Okay.
anyway, so if we talk about like an offer can be the full methodology and also can be a part of the methodology. And so that basically that creates consistency, and also it will take into consideration that your offer also is a match for the methodology when it creates the full presentation without thinking that they are two separate things.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. We're gonna have 10 more minutes of work, and then I'm going to go into explaining for all the people that are not GTeX members yet, how we can continue working together, and also explain the assignment for next week. So 10 more minutes of work.
Where it's talking about like emotional tone and it says like what you want to invoke or outcome that your ideal client craves. Would it be beneficial to go back to the exercise from last week of like the first part that we did created kind of like that client avatar
100%.
and reference that? Okay.
100%. That's exactly why we did that last week. It's exactly the point of to say, okay, my client avatar is this avatar. Now, because if you have done it on the same chat, your answer can be as you already know it from the customer avatar. That's the beauty of doing everything on the same chat, that if you already have something that you can reference on the chat, you don't need to rewrite it. You can just reference which part of the chat it is, or like you've already have this in the work of the client avatar. But also on the emotional tone one in particular, that's not something that we have explored in the client avatar because this is the emotional tone that you want them to feel. Right? So that part is not in the client avatar. So it is also about your brand. Like, who are you as a person, or what is your brand about? Is it something more inspirational? Is it something more practical and technical? Is it something? And so that's why it will help you also create a title that is on brand for you.
Okay.
About the guarantee thing, yeah. Is
Mhm.
that more for like if someone has signed up to my course, but then at the end of it or during it, they didn't really get what they wanted? Or is it more for like to say, hey, if you want to speak about any questions or doubts before you thinking of registering in that way?
Now that's for someone that is both. So the guarantee, imagine like if you buy a fridge, right? The fridge breaks, you have a guarantee that they're going to replace the fridge. Right. So
Yeah,
that's
okay.
after the
So yeah,
purchase. So the
yeah.
guarantee specifically is like after I buy, what is that you can give me that if things don't go as planned, that I can still get what I want and what I paid for.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I'm just taking my time so I at least have something good to submit on Sunday. Personal passions or values that naturally intersect with the topic.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that one?
Absolutely. So that's in the unique angle, right?
Yes,
Passion
please.
theme, personal passion that
Yeah.
naturally intersect with the topic. This is what helps you to make the presentation fully yours. For example, I play basketball.
Mhm.
And there will be many times that I will use in my presentation basketball references.
Mm.
That's a personal passion that I have. Now, it can naturally intersect with the topic because there are a lot of lessons between sports and business that you can find.
Mm.
Now, this will make the presentation more human because what makes someone something unique and someone unique is the intersection of things.
Mm.
What makes you you is because you have a strong passion for fitness, for
Mm.
faith. No one can replicate the life experiences that you have, your
Yeah.
quirks as well. So I'll give you an example. One of the clients that we built a webinar for, she's crazy about post-it notes. Like I'm talking about like the crazy about post-it notes. She's got thousands of post-it notes in her house, different shapes, different colors, post-it notes everywhere. So what we did, we made sure that that part that is fully her was integrated in the webinar, using metaphors around post-it notes, using post-it notes in the slides, using post-it notes. And what was fascinating is that when someone asked, why did you buy? Or, what made the presentation stand out? Every single person without fail mentioned post-it notes. Because it's the only thing that no one can replicate, is fully hers. So think about what makes you you. And then throughout the AI, but also when you're then reviewing and rebuilding your presentation, you can say, how can I bring these elements into the presentation through stories and metaphors?
So say for example, where I did bodybuilding.
Boom.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'm leaning in, right? Like bodybuilding? All right. Tell me more. What happened? How is this connected now with the message that you want others people to have? What were some of the lessons that are now connected through your experience in bodybuilding that you have learned? Very few people can replicate that.
Oh yeah, what a journey.
Right? Like I'm talking about basketball from the perspective of a very short, white person, which is not the stereotypical basketball player. Like, and the fact of being in a situation when I'm the only white guy in the team. How does that translate? Like, and how does that link to also understanding about, you know, how Black people might feel in a room full of white people? Like, I understand it. Like, I've got the opposite. And so there are these nuances that I can live through that experience that makes me who I am. And so the more we integrate those into the presentation, the more the presentation comes alive and unique.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that will link with my my title.
Yeah. All right. People got now I got a bit more time. So I'm gonna give you another 5. Do another 5 of a full implementation. And then I'm gonna explain exactly what I'm expecting for next week.
The title lab worksheet, it says like clear outcome your ideal client craves.
Yeah.
I have trouble separating my core offer that I want to be selling because I like ultimately I want to find somebody who wants a new website. But then I'm offering this introductory offer to get them to trust me to have the core offer. So I want somebody that wants a website, but then I'm trying to sell them not a website. And so like I guess like I struggle with them.
That's a good point. So the reason I'll tell you the reason why this is important. It is because you want to have continuation between like the same link that the same thing that will attract them to the webinar is the same thing that will attract them to the core offer. That's when it makes sense because they all come in for the same reason. They're just getting different pieces of the puzzle. And let me tell you that what a client doesn't want is a website. The outcome that they crave, they don't crave a website,
Clients.
right? They crave clients, they crave visibility, they crave standing out from the crowd, right? So this is what we are talking about as an outcome. Because then if you're thinking about it, your assessment is a piece of the puzzle to get them to this outcome. The website becomes a piece of the puzzle to get them to the outcome. The webinar is a piece of the puzzle to get them to the outcome. So the outcome is the same. It's just that they get different pieces throughout the journey.
Okay. And then the core topic, one phrase focus of the webinar, is that tying back to our offer or
What is that?
the next section down for teaching points worksheet?
Yeah.
After the title stuff, it gets core topic, one phrase focus of the webinar.
Yeah, that's a like a link to the webinar. What is linked to the belief is like what does they need to believe in order to buy? What is the thing that you want them to understand and to repeat over and over again? So for me, it will be like webinars are the most effective way to get clients aligned. Is a core phrase that I want them to hear over and over again throughout the webinar so they get it. So what do they need to get? That for you is like you need to have a unique, you need to have a unique website to stand out. I'm just making it up. Or in order for you to be found online, you need to have a great strategy for your website, which links to the assessment. So that's a kind of phrase that will position then ultimately what is that they're going to buy.
Mhm.
So the question becomes, why is the assessment important for you? Like you're giving an assessment, why is it important?
Well, for me, it's like it's a piece of the outcome that they want. Like it's a piece of it that I could deliver that could prove that I know what I'm doing
Right,
and
but for
isn't
them,
like just yeah.
that's a goal for them, the assessment.
I guess to understand what they need for the good website, not just like a lot of people just throw up some photos and a few phrases and think that it's going to attract somebody, and it doesn't.
All right, that's perfect. So then if you want to, like, the phrase can be, your website is not just a connection of pretty pictures and images. If you want your website to work for you, you need to have X, Y, and Z. So in this case, the one phrase focus is like, your website needs a clear strategy. It's not just a collection of images. Because if I believe that my website needs a strategy is not just a collection of images, and I hear that over and over again, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do now? Book the assessment. Now it makes sense.
You're hired.
You're welcome. I'm all right at this thing. I got time for one more question. I got time for one more question.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, Olivia.
If anybody doesn't want to ask any. I just wanted to just ask about the goal blueprint worksheet where it says exact call to action. Is there a way of doing like a split test? Because last week, I'm not obviously going to share too much, but in the GTeX members group, we did, you know, something that, you know, one of them, I believe she's in there. You know, I went through my pitching and so forth with Lisa, and just based on that alone, she said she would have wanted me to buy. She would have wanted to buy. So I'm thinking, should I just go for the buy, the book, instead of the book calls, and go for sell offers? Because I know earlier you said if you hadn't sold on a webinar before, maybe go for the book calls, or just go straight in with the sell offer.
Yeah, there is a difference. You and Liz are part of the same community, and there is already a trust that is there.
Yes.
So when you sell to someone that doesn't know you, it's a different dynamic. And so the sale is not just does the offer make sense, but is, do I believe in the person? Do I believe in the offer? Do I believe that I'm going to make it work? And often when you're getting feedback on breakout rooms and something like this, the part of there is already a sense of, I trust that you're going to do what you do. And also, Lisa, is not that she paid you as well.
No.
Which is a different thing. Like if Lisa in the breakout room said, okay, here's my money, take it right now, that's different. Right? So having someone that will pay in principle is very different from someone actually taking their card out and pay. So I would recommend stick with the call and then test it out later on. But start with a call and then test it out selling later on once it's proven. Because what you need is conversation with clients. That's what you need right now.
Okay.
We need to have conversation. We need to understand them. We need to be in front of them. You need to have this conversation. So that's also another big benefit that you will have by having these conversations.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Simone, let me ask you kind of to that end as well. So this is my first webinar, even though I've been conducting webinars and training all my life, but not necessarily sell anything. Now, being that my target audience is really for people who are, you know, been laid off or going through job transitions, I'm just thinking about timing. We're going into the holidays, right? So if I launch my webinar in December, ideally, I will start my cohort in January because that's when people are going to go through the holidays and they're going to start January the 3rd, full steam ahead with their job search.
Correct.
If I'm spending time doing these, you know, booking calls and talking to people, I'm afraid that that is going to push my timeline back to be able to actually start my first live cohort at the beginning of the year. So I'm inclined because I think the urgency at the end of the year.
So first of all, if you want to start something in January, the sale needs to happen in December. Otherwise, January is too late.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I would go straight to direct sale versus booking calls.
No, you can book a call and close the client on the call. You book the call and close the client on the call.
Okay.
Because again, what you need is to talk to people. You need to have these kind of conversations. And anyway, direct sale will always converts less than a call, unless you're really, really good at selling, because you go from, is a skill to go from I don't know you to here's my money in a short period, in a relatively short period of time, whether it's 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, depending on it, right? So you're gonna make your life more difficult for yourself while you're booking the calls. You're having the calls in December, and then pre-sale, they pay a deposit or they pay the full starting in January.
Okay. And I'm assuming there's a technique to conducting these calls as well, though, right? Because I've had a couple of calls and none of them have converted. So if you are new at having these one-on-one calls.
Good point. Good point. I'll direct you to the Sales Mastery course in the GTeX membership, because that's where you practice where you learn the structure of a sales call. So it's basically like the next step. Okay, I got the call. Here is the structure of the sales call, and I think that also you and Olivia could pair up and then do a role play of the sales call, as you both need to have consultations. So that makes sense.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, cool, awesome. All right, people, we're going to wrap up this part right now. So please pay attention, because two things are going to happen now. One, I'm going to explain what is that you're expected to do for next week, and also for everyone that is either watching live or watching the replay, then that is not a GTeX member yet. I will explain also how you can keep working with us, because this is the starting point. If you think about the offer ecosystem that we have designed, this is the starting point of GTeX. And if you say, actually, this thing makes sense, I like to be part of this community, like a lot of people that are already here that you have seen, actually type again GTeX if you're already a GTeX member, so then they can see who you are. Then if you want to be part of it and join, then I'll show you what options there are going to be. Now also, there is nothing to buy, because what we're asking is just to fill an assessment form, and then I will create a personalized proposal for you. So I'll let you know in a moment how this is gonna work for everyone that is not a GTeX member yet fully. It's just join the accelerator for this round. But let's start first with what's important to complete for Sunday. So you will need to complete your webinar creation worksheet. And what we want is to complete the worksheet until you go into complete script, the red one. This is the last prompt to add. From this prompt, it will create the full script, and you're going to then take it, put in a document, and upload the document on Padlet. Right? So you will have here on Padlet, you have something that says session 2, upload your webinar worksheet here. And that's where you're going to upload the worksheet. Again, like this round, I'm going to give you an example. So you're going to have an example of what a good worksheet will look like. Now, also, I've seen that for this round, a lot of people, instead of uploading a worksheet, they just added the comments here. It's going to be very difficult for us, as the webinar script is very long, to go through the comments. It's going to be incredibly long and very difficult also to give you feedback. So for this round, we will require a document for you to upload a document. This is a must, this is imperative, or you will not get feedback. Because otherwise, with the length of a script, those Padlet are never going to end. And so it's really important that you'll see what the example looks like, and then you're going to upload it here under session 2. The deadline again is Sunday, the end of your day. This is the deadline. Also, what you can do, once you have the script, or once you are working on the script, you can book a webinar review session with one of the other participants before uploading your worksheet. Today, Wang, for everyone that wanted an accountability partner, should have made the introductions. You should have received, I think, an email with your accountability partner. So check it out, because then you can use your accountability partner to review each other's worksheet, to review each other's work, or to complete the work together. So this is we're not going to facilitate that anymore. After we made the introduction, then it's up to you to implement it and to use your partner. So decide how you want to interact with each other. Some people, they decide to do co-working sessions together because they have more time available, and they say, actually, I love to get this done together. Other people, they say, no, let's get it done separately and let's just meet to give each other's feedback. You can decide, depending on the time that you both have, how you want to engage with your accountability partner. And also, you're going to upload the completed webinar worksheet on the Padlet board, where I showed it before, where it says session 2, upload your webinar worksheet here. This is what's going to be required for you, and this is going to be at the end of Sunday, your time zone. Now, for everyone that is not a GTeX member yet and is thinking about, okay, what can I do? What will happen after this accelerator? We complete the accelerator. We have another 3 weeks as part of this process. We're going to create the marketing material. You're going to test your webinar, but what will happen after? Because at this point, you can decide. You can decide to do this on your own, and it becomes very difficult to be consistent, though, or to get some help and say, actually, let's commit to the journey. I showed you earlier the journey and the numbers from starting out from novice to proficient to expert. Let's commit to this journey to create webinars that convert every single time, to create the full business model that allows me to always run webinars, get clients, automate it, and have partners to fill out my webinar. Because that's the difference between the sprint and the marathon. At the moment, we are on the sprint, right? We are doing the webinar, but then what's going to happen after is the day-to-day running of the business. And after this container is gone, then you're back on your own. So we want to make sure that this container continues to happen, because if we are as good as the containers in which we are in. I have my mentoring containers. I need them because I want to play a bigger game. I want to grow my business. There are always things that I can learn. I want to be kept accountable. I'm victim of my own limitations. They got tons of limitations. So with this, I'm like, okay, what structure do I need around me so that I can do my best work? And that's where the marathon comes into place. And if you're thinking about the journey, normally what happens is that we learn a skill, like we are making progress. We are here right now. We're making progress. We're getting things done. Things are exciting. We're getting it done. Then something is going to happen. It's going to hit a plateau, and we can see that in our business. And then things are a bit like going low or going down. Then we go back in scramble mode. Let's try to figure something out, and then we come back out. It's like, oh my God, I found it. So if you find yourself in your business that is a bit of a plateau, or you feel yourself like in scramble mode, this is where we can be the most effective. This is where really we can help you out, because trying to get out of scramble mode on your own is a lot. It's a lot. Why? Because it's very confusing. Like you have tons of decisions to make. Think about just how many decisions you had to make in these 2 sessions. These are the day-to-day decisions that we're making in our business. So having the right sounding board and having the right people around you is the most important thing, and in particular having the right support. So what does this right support looks like? And I want to first of all start with, who are we as a community? Because the accelerator is really a place for us to show you, do you belong here? Do you feel like you belong here? Because GTeX stands for growing together exponentially. We are a community first. We are a group of people that show up for each other, and we show up in a certain way. We believe certain things. So the first thing that makes a GTeX member a great GTeX member, we are all kind and understanding. We're all different. We all have different beliefs. We all have different religions. We all have different credos. We all have different ethnicities. But at the same time, we can be kind and understanding with each other. This is the foundation. Otherwise, there is no space for people that are not kind and understanding in GTeX. The other thing is that we use our voice for good. I believe that we have a responsibility as business owners. We are here to shape other businesses, to shape other people. The work that we do makes an impact. And every time that we have an opportunity, we have the opportunity to make someone else's life better. And we are kind of people that use our voice for good. Also, we believe in collaboration and relationships. That's the core here. Business is not a solo sport, it's a team sport. We're in this together. And collaboration and relationship is what is going to accelerate everything that we do, but also is what is going to help us and give us the support that we need wherever we are at our lowest, and accelerate when we are at our best. So if we can show up for each other in this way, then there is magic that is created within the group. Also, we believe in implementation over perfection. We gotta get things done, people. Done is better than perfect. Perfection is the killer dream. So here at GTeX, we get things done. Because by getting things done, then we get progress. And we get progress, we get results. Also, we have a high standards for ourselves. I'm the kind of person that I believe I'm never arrive. I hold myself to a high standard. Every training that I do, I have a high standard for what I deliver. I'm not saying I always achieve them or I always reach them, but that's the standard that I hold myself accountable to, and a lot of GTeX members, they do. And also, we don't cut corners and work towards excellence. Because creating something great, that's why there are few great people, few great things in the world. It's because a lot of people are looking to cut corners. What's the shortcut? What's the shortcut? What's the shortcut? But when we realize that actually there are no corners to cut and we put the work in, excellent becomes a byproduct of that. Also, we are the kind of people that love growing and questioning. We question ourselves. We're like, maybe I'm wrong. I'm questioning myself all the time because that's the only way to grow, in my opinion. And then finally, we take responsibility and are willing to figure things out. Not everything is going to be roses and flowers. You'll do webinars and they're not going to work out. You will try to do strategies and they're going to work out. But then solution is either quit or finding a solution, finding a way. And probably in my business, there will be more things that didn't work out than things that worked out. Way more that didn't work out. But I'm trying to adjust and finding all the things so then I can keep the one that work out. And this is the kind of people that we are. So if you find yourself matching this description, actually, welcome. You're home. You're here. Gotta go anywhere else. So what's gonna happen next? As I mentioned, there is nothing to buy on this course. Right now, there is no decision to make. I want just you to be aware of the options based on where you're at. So one option to continue is the Ultimate Expert Program. Then we have the Influencer Program, we have a Done For You webinar agency. The Ultimate Expert Program is perfect for you if you're making less than $10,000 a month in monthly revenue. So if your business is less than $10,000 a month in monthly revenues, the Ultimate Expert Program is perfect for you. Because in this program, the goal is to get clarity on your entire business, is to create webinars where you get clients every time you run a webinar. That's the goal. Is to grow your audience with the right people and to become an authority and to become known in your industry. We have different options of this program that goes from $997 for the light option to $5,997. I'm going to show you if you decide to apply, and I'm going to show you what are these different options and what's going to be included. And also based on your financial availability, I'll make a recommendation. I'll say, okay, no, this is the best option for you. And also we have a success guarantee on our program because stand behind our work. And I understand that some people will take shorter, some people will take longer, but we are going to be there no matter what. Then the influencer program. An influencer program is perfect for you if you're already at 10,000 a month, monthly recurring revenue, or 100,000 a month, monthly revenues. And the conversation there are different. The process is the same, but the conversation are different because now we're looking at scaling the business and growing the business, and the conversation is more about how do we expand on the strategy and how do we scale your sales and marketing team and system using webinars. Launching your live webinar and automated webinars. We will also include a webinar funnel done for you. You can see as a price point, you can expect one option is about almost $13,000, $12,997, or $19,997 if we want the full done for you. And again, we have a success guarantee that I'm going to show you how the guarantee work after you submit your application. And then finally, the third option, if you say, actually, I don't want to be part of a group program. I just want you to do the full webinar for me, Simone, and your team. We have a fully webinar implementation done for you in between 30 to 60 days. The prices, they go from 8,000 to 16,000. And again, we have a success guarantee. So these are the different options based on, are you growing your business to the 10,000 a month in monthly revenues? Are you scaling because you're already at 10,000 a month plus or 100,000 a month plus, depending on the groups? Or do you just want us to handle the webinar for you? So there's the three different options that you will have. So I'm going to put an application form here in the chat. And all I'm going to ask you to do is to fill it up. It's going to take a good 10 minutes. It's not going to be only 3 questions, because actually it's going to take a full assessment of your business. And whether you decide to join or not after you fill out the application, what you will have anyway is an overview of all the places where you need to work in your business and what is required for you to make this strategy work. This is what we are going to discuss on the application call. And then you can decide, do you want our support to get there or not? And then I'm going to make a custom offer for you, something special just for you. Because I believe that every business is different. And so the offer that you're going to get is going to be different from the offer that someone else is going to get based on where you are in your business. Now, let me show you what is the content that we are going to cover, because that's ultimately, or what you can expect. So whether, depending on, doesn't matter what program you join, whether it's the Ultimate Expert program or the Influencer program, based on your business, you can expect great training. If you enjoyed this modality of training, if you found this useful, actually getting things done in this way, this is what you can expect. You're going to get more of this in different areas of your business. And the best thing is that you can reattend this training over and over again. For anyone here that has attended this training more than once, probably they will tell you that the second and the third time, one, things get way easier. And third, a lot of people, they will continue redoing this accelerator because every time you do it, you see your webinar under a different light. So you can expect not only this accelerator over and over again throughout the year, but also trainings in other area, which I'm going to show you in a moment. The second thing that will help you to achieve the results that we want you to get is support and accountability. You know, we are the result of the environment in which you're in. If we have the right people around us and the right support, we're going to be more likely to get things done. Then resources. We have resources for everything. You had the conversation before. Letonia was asking, how do I do sales conversation? Here we go. We got the scripts, we got the training, you got the checklist as well as part of the program on how to do sales conversation, or any resource that you will need in your business. We're going to give it to you and you can find them in one place. With the difference that instead of buying a lot of different resources from different sources where you will feel pulled in different direction, we know you and we know your business, and we can tell you, don't go there. How many conversations with our current members we had is like, no, don't do this, do this. Oh, forget about it, this is a distraction. And so we're not going to distract you with resources. We're only going to give you the resources that are relevant for you. So that's going to be more efficient, and you will feel less pulled in between trying to make decisions. Business is tough enough. Then we're going to create space for implementation. You can see here we're getting things done. Every single program that we do is about implementation. It's not just about learning stuff for the sake of learning. Every time you will come out with a tangible asset that you can use in your business. And then finally is community. As I mentioned, what's special about GTeX are the people in GTeX. And if you invest in the community, you show up for the community, you show up for others, you will have a lot of people showing up for you. And this is what creates the GTeX magic. Now, in terms of the training specifically, this is how it follows the GTeX method. So in the clarity stage, what you're going to do, we're going to help you getting clear and focused strategy. That's the first thing that you're going to work in your business. And then also building your brand. How can you build a brand that stands out from the crowd, that is different from others? And then putting all your brand in one single page that you can use for yourself and for others. Also, we are going to work on your entire offer ecosystem. So when we worked on one offer so far, the work that we did on one offer, now we will do on your entire offer ecosystem. So then you don't have only one, but you have the full offer ecosystem. So then you can maximize the opportunities that clients have from buying from you. Then we're going to focus on conversion. In the conversion side, we will help you master your sales conversation. That's the training I was referring to, Letonia, earlier. It's called Sales Mastery, making sure you're great at one-to-one selling, and also continuously helping you convert with webinars. This is the first round, but the magic happens after you do the second, third, or fourth, because now you're not restarting from scratch. The thinking is done. So now you can work on the final bits. Then in the expansion phase, we are going to work on growing your audience and mailing list. So then the more people you will have, the easier it's going to be to fill your webinars, and also strategic partnerships. So then we'll find other people that can fill your webinars for you. And once we have clarity and conversion, then we can move to expansion and the audience growth. And then finally, we will have influence. In the influence part, the goal is to become an unforgettable presenter. Now, the better your presentation skills are, the higher the sales are going to be, because people will connect with you even on a deeper level, and then also get known in your industry, getting featured on media, publication, speaking engagement, podcast. But we will focus on influence after we have completed clarity, conversion, expansion. And so this is the full journey that you can expect by either working with us on the Ultimate Expert program to get the 10,000 a month, or in the influencer program to get the 10,000 to 100,000 a month plus. Because the work is the same, it's just that the conversations are on a different level. And that's what I'm excited to show you and to support you with, that will get to the point where you have a full pipeline and recurring revenues, which ultimately equals the freedom in your business. And we cannot do this without our best friends, right? Our AI best friends. So everything that we'll do, again, there is a lot of lesson on how to use AI to support your business, because every single training that we do has a mixture of human component and AI component blended together, as you can see that we have done now. Some courses, they are more human. Some courses we have more AI, depending on the nature of the course. And the goal here, the reason why I would invite you to upgrade and to consider working together, is that the more people you have that you're working with, or the more short courses you do, the more you'll build a Frankenstein business. A bit from one person, a bit from the other, a bit for the other, instead of just having something that creates more simplicity, where we can help you go from a starter out in the webinar space to becoming a pro, and to make sure that you have webinars that convert every single time. So my recommendation, my only call to action here is to just fill up the application form. And you got nothing to lose anyway, because worst case scenario, if you fill it up, you're just going to learn what are the gaps in your business that will prevent you from making the strategy successful. That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, we find actually a way forward. We see actually we are a good fit, and we'll keep working together. So I want to show you a few case studies, and then I'm going to stay on for an extra Q&A. For example, Caroline, which ended up becoming, after a few years, actually our marketing GTeX coach, she had her first $5,000 a month from following this particular process. We work with the Christian, which is a singer and songwriter, helping make more than 25,000 from his webinar as well. Work with my wife throughout this process. She made more than 30,000 from the webinars that she did over time. Mercy, we helped her go from 40,000 to 250,000. And she was in a period actually where it was in COVID, and also her husband was made redundant. So she had to grow. She had no other options. She had 3 kids, husband made redundant. So we're like, okay, let's crack the code. Let's do this. And she did brilliantly. Of course, she put a lot of work in, but it worked out. I said with Navid, we built a great, strong system. I make about 150,000 a year from this particular webinar. With Sarah, more than 500,000. With Katya, more than 300,000. So question becomes like, how many clients do you need to make your investment back? My promise to you is that we'll keep you accountable. We will work through this particular process, and we will be with you no matter what. Because some people, they achieve it faster, some people take longer, but we are going to show up because we are a team. So let's apply. And if you like the way that we work, and if you feel that this is the right space for you, then I'd love to keep working together. Also, if you have any other question, you can reach out to me and ask me any question that you have. So this is the end of my spiel for today. I'll give you a bit more details also next session that we have, the final one. What I would love to know from you is if you have any final questions going into next week that will help you also to complete the program for this Sunday, or if you have any question about the program as well, more than happy to answer any of those.
Maybe, hey Simone, maybe it's good in the chat, as I was listening, 50%, I was also looking at the chat, and a couple of people have reached out and said they want to do a test webinar before Sunday. So maybe that's good to say that anybody else, if they want to jump in or support anyone else that's doing that, then maybe we can do that in the chat.
Yeah, so first of all, you're not required
No, of course not.
to provide because for a test webinar also you'll need the slides. And
True.
before Sunday, what we are going to give you is just like the script. That's all what we
Mm.
require, right? But again, nothing wrong in testing it out and say, even without the slides, let me practice my script and see if it makes sense. And that's where, with accountability partners, that's where you can work with your accountability partner. Now, if you also want to invite, it's not a bad idea. Like if you want to invite people in the group and say, hey, I want to do a test webinar to test my script, who wants to show up? Don't be offended if no one shows up because people are busy. But if someone is going to show up, why not? Like put it out there. You got nothing to lose anyway.
Is that what you want to do, Olivier? Test your script?
You know, it was more about the webinar review, not really
Okay.
testing the actual webinar. So, yeah, Simone did mention a review. So maybe testing the review before the worksheet gets submitted on Sunday. So that's what I meant. So
Got it.
I'm like, oh, sorry if it was misinterpreted.
No,
Yeah,
no.
okay. I mean, we're only gonna give feedback on Monday, so there is no feedback that is gonna give until Monday. So in this case, it will be with you if you have an accountability partner to go through it and just like have that feedback and then submit the worksheet.
Okay, cool.
All right. Any other question, comments, or even like share some of the lessons that you got today before we wrap up?
I guess the lesson is to just get started and finish it and submit it on Sunday. No, it was very valuable. Absolutely excellent session. As always, you always deliver such brilliant sessions, always filled with so much gems and knowledge. And yeah, I'm looking forward to submitting on Sunday. I
Looking
can't
forward
really
to
say
seeing
that
it.
there was one thing because everything was, like I said, it's just so much depth to what you teach. And I'm like I said, I'll always be a GTeX fan. I met Simone a long time. In fact, I felt like I was the longest one, even though I think it took me a few months, but that was only because I was really super busy. But Simone is just great at what he does, and I'm just glad that I'm here.
Thank you, and we're glad that you're here. Thank you, Danielle.
I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I think it's probably the fourth time that I attend the Webinar Conversion Accelerator. The first time was November 2022, probably, after which I joined the GTeX community. And every time it's different. I've worked on 3 different subjects for webinars so far. And every time it comes to some of the same questions, I always go back to some previous notes that I took. Well, what are my strengths and and this time I just said, no, I know what they are. Let me just write authentically from scratch what I know. And the results this time have been quite extraordinary.
That's awesome.
So I just wanted to share that. Don't doubt yourself. You have what it takes, and the methodology works. Wow,
thank you. Thank you. That's a beautiful message, and that's something I would love everyone to embrace. Because I know there are definitely some people that will feel a lot, like it's overwhelming, this process. It's a lot to create a webinar from start to finish, to create the offer. It's a lot of work. Like we are doing basically in a couple of weeks what many people don't get done in a year. That's the extent of the work that we are doing. So if it feels overwhelmed, it's part of the process. It's supposed to be like this. But if it's the first time that you're doing it. So the first time is just to get it done and see how far you can go and then test your webinar. Then the second time it becomes easier, third time becomes easier. And every time you learn different layers, you get deeper. And that's what different separates anyway, people that then that just stay at the surface to people that really get it and they make it work. So thank you. Selena.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Simone. This has been just so wonderful. I've been in and out. Mostly I've been working, so sometimes I would be listening and working. And this time I was 100% on, and I'm so happy I've been here. And it just makes so much sense. So thank you so much. And, you just do the best. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you, Selena. Mel.
Okay. Clarification for anybody and everyone. For Sunday, we are going through the prompts in this AI 2.0 webinar creation worksheet from setup all the way through complete script. We're stopping at bonus prompt for gamma, and we're selecting either pitch 1 or pitch 2 is the only. We're not doing the whole thing from there. We're just choosing either pitch 1 or pitch 2.
Correct.
But from start through complete script. Okay, great. And then my issue that I have with ChatGPT is sometimes in naming conventions, in titling, it doesn't know if I'm talking, or I don't understand that it knows whether I'm talking about the webinar title or the offer title. So I have a couple of potential things that it's thrown at me for the offer title. And so I just like people to vote. My webinar is called On Camera Crisis to Confidence. Conquer your tech so your performance can shine through. It used to be self-tape tech and for auditioners, for actors. So now it also helps Zoom presenters. So I know the name of my webinar. The offer is either On Camera Confidence Framework or On Camera Control Panel. I think I need the word confidence in there. What do you guys think? Anybody just want
All
to
right.
vote?
Let's put it in the chat. A or B. So we have
On Camera Confidence Framework.
On Camera Confidence Framework is A.
And I don't know. I feel like it needs the on camera. If anybody wants me to take the on confidence control panel.
All right. Sammy was quick. He was like A straight away.
Okay. Beautiful. That's yeah.
I also
I don't know why
I
chat just started throwing control panel at me, and I'm like, wait, that's not what I didn't say control panel, but chat just kept throwing it at me, and I'm like, well, maybe that sounds better. But you guys all believe framework. Great.
Lisa,
And
what were you
I was
saying?
going to say, I also feel like, and just knowing a little bit from what you did last season, Mel, I also feel like the word clarity is something that's very strong in your work.
Oh no, that's a monkey wrench, Lisa. But thank you. Yes, I'll fight with those things. But thank you everybody for telling me. On Camera Confidence Framework.
Yeah, and sometimes you can add a subtitle to the offer. That if, for example, you say if you want to include the word clarity, you can add a subtitle to it. So if you have like a few ideas on it, you can do a poll as well in the WhatsApp group, and then we can vote in the WhatsApp group. So that's also another option if you are still playing with others. But otherwise, On Camera Confidence Framework works. It's a good one.
Great.
I like it.
Thank you, everyone.
No, not changing. All right, bye, Selena. Letonia? I know you had a question.
I did, but I thought maybe it'll be worth asking later on. But the thing I'm thinking is, okay, this is my first time putting it on. I just wanted to talk to other people who have already gone through this and have done their first webinar. What was the experience like? And what were some of your learnings from the very first one?
Good point. Who wants to go?
Latonya, I jumped in immediately. I had 2 webinars within the time frame that Simone set out, and my official webinar that I did all of the marketing emails and everything else to, I had 30 people in the room. Or no, I had 30 registrations and 19 in the room. So that was good. And even though I was dealing with Zoom and my presentation and all of that stuff, everybody in the room was grateful that I was human in doing all of that stuff, that I wasn't like super polished with navigating a webinar, having it been the very first one. But prior to that, like a week prior to that, I held a super secret, super soft pre-launch practice party of the webinar. And that was how I marketed it to my very close friends. Please, if you can just give me feedback. And both webinars, I was like, I'm just asking for feedback. So I included an exit poll to just get, what did you think of this thing? And then Simone was able to send me a template of an exit poll to use going forward. Really, I think if you ask those of us in the WhatsApp group to attend your very first webinar, just call it a practice, call it a dummy, call it whatever you want to call it. It'll help you with your confidence when you are officially ready to launch. My experience.
Thank you, Mel. Yeah, great work. Who wants to go next? Anyone else that has some shares for Latonia? How's your experience from doing it, Danielle? Another then
So
Lisa.
Latonia, my experience has been the delivery was fine, but I learned the very first time I did with my first product that I was offering, I learned that I didn't have the right audience. I wasn't promoting to the right audience. So that made me change the way I looked at who my audience is and where am I going to find them. So the whole campaign to increase my reach that way through LinkedIn, which is something else that Simone does very well. And the same thing the second time as well. So again, I'm having to think about how can I increase my reach, and that's where now I'm working on partnerships so that I can get more people to come and attend. But the actual delivery itself, the actual work, the quality of it is, I think, is excellent. I mean, it can always be perfected. And I see in Simone, when you do it over and over again, how much better it gets every single time. So you've been doing it for years. And I'm very confident that mine will also get much better with time. So.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Danielle. Lisa.
My experience, I've done two because I did the webinar accelerator this time last year, and then I did it again in September. And both times, first time I used Webinar Geek. Simone's going to talk about that in session 3, I think, or session 4.
Session 4.
First time I used Webinar Geek, and the last time I used Zoom. And they're very different experiences depending on which software you use and how you decide to kind of like go to market. And there's pros and cons for both. With Webinar Geek, it's way more of a professional setup. And with Zoom, I felt like people were very close to me and maybe a little bit too close and too almost informal. So depending on which avenue you're going to take, how you're going to host it, they're different experiences. But yeah, I mean, the first one after I felt pretty horrified. I felt pretty exposed because I couldn't see the people, but both of them were really amazing learning experiences. So I would say just seeing you on here, I don't think you would have any problems with presentation or how you connect with people or how you communicate, just how you're going to deliver it.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. Olivia. Yeah.
I think I had a pretty similar experience, Lisa, 'cause when I did it with Zoom, and I did a few webinars, but again, I'm glad that I'm here because what I found with the webinars was, the first webinar that I did, people showed up and, but I just didn't have a strong landing in terms of, again, where Simone just mentioned what was the key takeaway. And it's always starting from the end so that you've got your beginning Whereas I started my slides from the beginning, and yes, I had the great story. I weaved everything in, and everybody was really drawn in. And then when I got to the end, and it was like, okay, right, what really am I offering here? I knew what I was offering, but I just couldn't. It wasn't outlined how Simone has now structured it, that we go back and start the end from the beginning. So when I did the first webinar, it was Zoom has this this button where you could do it in a webinar format where you just don't connect. I just didn't feel like I connected with anybody, and you know, nobody's talking, and it's almost like you're just speaking to yourself. And then the second time I did it, again, like Lisa just mentioned, it felt very informal, but they enjoyed it. But I had fun with it as well. But I'm just glad that the end is being worked on now. So I'm actually really looking forward to the webinar. So I think, Latonya, like Lisa mentioned, you're not going to have a problem with your delivery. It's just making sure that everything is clear. And yes, you're right. Zoom webinars do cost more. I spent £97 and it's just like, well, what am I getting here? So yeah, it does cost you a lot more for the webinar service versus the informal setting. So it'll be good to hear what Simone's got to say
Yeah,
about.
we'll look at actually on the tech session,
Yeah.
we're looking at when should you use one software instead of
Mm.
another, because also it depends on the kind of experience you like to have, the kind of experience you want to give to the audience, how much money you want to spend, if you want to spend more money or no money. Like there are all these variables here, but that's what the last session is about. Like the last session is like, okay, let's decide which platform you're going to go through, and these are how you is one, and this is why you should use another one. So then you can decide what the tech implementation is going to look like. Was it helpful, Latonya?
Yeah, it was. Thank you,
All
everyone.
right. I can share also the first time I ran my first webinar. I mean, it was a while ago, but it sucked. It was bad. It was really, really, really bad. I think the first one I thought I was sharing the screen, no one was seeing the slides. So I was pointing at the slides that I spent hours and hours and hours working on. And actually, I didn't share the screen. That was the first one. The second one, I forgot to record. The third one, I had no one. And so that was a start on this. And at the same time, every time I made some improvements, I've learned something more. I made some adjustment, and I think that the best approach, if you can have the approach on how can I improve what I have, how can I grow, sometimes is improving the offer, sometimes is improving the presentation, sometimes is improving the marketing. But what is it I need to improve at each stage? Then it's just a matter of time. Like something is going to happen. It's like if you improve what needs to be improved, the conversion will happen as a consequence. And then that's the lessons that I've learned, and that's what shaped also my mentality around webinars and my philosophy around it, because mine wasn't a strong start. All right. So anything else, Latonya, or are you okay for today?
I don't know. This is just so, I mean, I already have a pit in my stomach and I haven't even done it. I haven't even got my script together. So I'm just trying to get my mind right.
You got it. I think what Mel suggested actually to do like a round test
Yeah.
webinar before you launch it live with a few friends or a few GTeX members, it will just break that stigma, because once you're there, you have delivered presentations before, so you've done it before, right? It's just the approach, the way you are seeing it at the moment that makes you feel that
Yeah.
way. And I think you're running the first one, then you can say it's not different from other training I've delivered before. I'm just selling something.
Just selling something. That's the thing.
Wow. All right, everyone. Thanks for staying on. Thanks for attending. Thanks for playing full out. Any question, reach out in the group. You got the assignment, and the deadline is this Sunday. Anyone that is not a GTeX member yet, decide to apply, just fill up the application form. Then we can decide how to move forward.
Simone, sorry, quick question. When will you upload the example webinar reviews?
In the next half an hour.
Half an hour. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone. And until next time, remember that together we grow exponentially. Ciao.